Hey, welcome to the first episode of Book Club. Where we don't.
Yeah, anime book club.
Yeah, anime movie DVD. Wow, I was gonna say streaming. That's it.
Yeah, something like that.
So basically, what we're gonna do is just if you listen to our JAOMR, I had to like look in my head or in the back of my mind to figure out how to say that, or you see the Let's Talk Anime or. What was the other one that we had?
Poorly Explained.
Poorly Explained. Those are kind of like we go like we kind of explain the episodes. With this one, we're just going to kind of talk about episodes. We're going to do about 6 episodes each day or each week, but in this video, it's all going to be together. So it's going to be one long video, and then, but you're going to hear us maybe change or shift or whatever.
One of us might be dying in one of these, and then inexplicably part 4 will be like, oh no, I'm fine.
Yeah, well, hopefully not. Oh yeah, okay, yeah, I get what you're saying.
Yeah, like part 3.
I was thinking like dying, like you hate the show, and then whatever.
Oh no, I was talking like physically dying, like one of us gets sick, but we had to get.
Yeah, hope that's on the pass. But yeah, so the Melancholy of
Haruhi Suzumiya.
Thank you. If you guys know from my previous animes, I suck at saying Japanese names, so.
Well, that's unfortunate. I only wrote down like 3 names.
Well, luckily I
don't even know what the main guy's name is, if I'm being real.
Oh, it's Kayan.
Oh, okay.
But it's not his real name. I think it's his
nickname is like Kuon or something.
Yeah. I don't know if it's Kuon or. No, I thought he said his middle name was Kuon or Kayan, and he's like, I hate when people call me that. No, you're calling me that?
Yeah, I just heard that. Yeah, I hate being called it, but I see that everybody's calling me that now, so I guess that's me.
I really don't like the main character. Like, he's such... He's deadpan. And the reason I don't like the character is because he'll say, the one girl, Miruku Ashinina or whatever. Asahina. Exactly. She's like, oh, I really don't want to be. So the episode, one of the episodes, is it Suzumaki or do we call
Suzumiya?
Is that how she's always called, or is it?
I think main guy refers to as just Haruhi.
Okay, but
I think everybody else is like, they're like, well, we're not quite as close as you are.
So we just go by your last name.
Yeah.
So like, she puts her in a bunny suit. And then they're like, we're going out. Which, funny enough, when I first watched the show, I thought all this stuff was towards the end of the. But like,
no, this is all about them getting club members.
But she like comes up and she's like, oh, I don't want to do that again. And Kayon, I'm gonna say it wrong. Main protagonist guy is like, I'll protect you. And then Haruhi comes in and
it's like, hey,
we're doing this now, and she's like, oh no, and he just walks away. Like, he literally just said, I won't let her do any more crazy shit to you. And then
yeah, because this was the first thing that happened was Haruhi uses Asahina in the computer lab.
Yeah, I didn't like this scene.
And is like, well, look at that, you just grabbed her. I've got pictures. And I'll just say that all of you guys are in on this. And then they have to give her a computer because she's blackmailing them. She's doing crimes.
Yeah.
And that's what I have in my notes. Haruhi commits crimes in order to enhance the club.
Well, in the first episode, I think she's at the... She did it...
Because that's the second episode.
Okay, so Asahina is either brought in at the very end of the first episode or at the beginning of the second episode.
I think it's the end of the first episode.
But like, she's already groping her.
Mm-hmm. And she's so moe.
Yeah, I was like, okay.
You need to have a moe character.
and this came out in 2006, which is crazy because they're like explaining all this, like, oh, you have to have this, and this. And I don't remember that. I mean, I didn't really watch a lot of shows, a lot of anime in 2006, but that wasn't like the thing. That wasn't like the formula until like I felt like years later.
That definitely wasn't the formula. Like, it feels like it wasn't the formula for anime that got popular anime in the West.
Yeah.
Like, all the popular anime in the West was like shonen stuff, like Dragon Ball, Yu-Gi-Oh, Naruto, One Piece.
Like and then they brought not spin-offs, but they brought off like the lore end those still didn't have them either. But I think we were picking and choosing. We're like, this won't piss off the American fan base if we take this one.
Yeah, they were bringing over fairly simple stuff that could be, like, compared to comic books. It was definitely the Wild West of anime time. I could be wrong.
Yeah,
I was a wee lad in 2006.
We're not
historians.
We're not historians, and I watch all the bad stuff, so.
I do too, I just don't talk about it.
Yeah. I'm more open. I'm more like, yeah, I watch this show. But you can blame Brennan for that, because Brennan got me into High School DxD. And I didn't know that anime was like that. That was actually the first. I think the first. I
think we're getting a little sidetracked.
No. That was like the first where I was like, oh shit, and that's where I went down. But yeah. So the first 6 episodes are all about. Oh my god, I just don't want to say her name. Suzumiya. You know, it's the Melancholy of, and so okay. Before we get like far, I'm gonna go on a little bit of a side tangent.
Okay.
So I seen the first season of the show, and I know the second season. We're not gonna spoil it.
Yeah, until later.
Yeah, until later. But they in the first 6 episodes, they clearly call Haruhi
some sort of
God.
Yeah, some sort of divine being that. Who is completely unaware of how they are, in fact, shaping the universe around them. And they can't just be like, hey, you're doing this, because that would put them in a great deal of jeopardy.
So, but when they start off the show, Kyon is saying, I used to believe in this, this, and this. Until, I was going to go back and watch the episode again to see how they phrased it. Because I swear he said 3 years ago. And 3 years ago is when
3 years ago keeps getting brought up.
So I'm wondering if Kyon is actually God, because it's funny because Suzumiya. I'm gonna try to stick with the Suzumiya.
Okay, I'm just gonna start calling her Haruhi just to mess with you,
just to really fuck with me, because I think I can say Suzumiya better than Haruhi, but Suzumiya. Wants to find all these.
She thinks it would be really cool to meet an alien, a time traveler, and an Esper.
And guess who finds all the time traveler, alien, and Esper? Kyon.
I mean, they all just sort of convert. Well, he doesn't find the time traveler.
Yeah, and
well, he doesn't.
He doesn't find the alien either.
Yeah, no, the only one, and he doesn't even find the Esper. They just all confide in him.
Yeah, and they're like, "Yo, by the way,"
because Haruhi. Suzumiya finds all of them.
Yeah.
And then drags them against their will into this club.
Yeah.
And
she's like, oh, we gotta go on an adventure. And
there's going to be a mysterious transfer student. How do you know they're mysterious? Because we're 2 months into school, and it'd be very mysterious to transfer into school at this time. And then they're like, well, actually, some other Espers have also infiltrated the school. And it's like, well, that's not mysterious? Like... But that's a lot of transfer students right there.
But like, what I find interesting about Kyon is that he never seems shocked, even by the episode 6, that big event that happens. We'll go into a little bit later. He's never like. I
mean, he's skeptical at first when Yuki's like, I'm an alien. I'm here to monitor.
True.
He's like, oh no, you're weird too. Oh man!
And then I guess the time travel when
and then the time traveler shows up and is like, "Hey, I'm a time traveler," and he's just like, "Oh, you too?" And I think she says something that kind of tips him off, and is like, "Oh, okay, only a time traveler would know that," or she says something that kind of echoes what Yuki says, and. He's like, okay, well, that's not the first time I've heard this. So.
Yeah, because this basically all 3 are like back to back to back explaining that, hey, this is the plot. Which in my head, I thought this was all towards the end of the show.
Yeah, because I think that's episode 3. The episode 2 ends with Yuki going, yeah, I'm an alien. And then the third episode starts up with like, Yeah, so Haruhi is something, some supernatural being. We don't know what. She might trigger evolution, and we want all that sweet, sweet data. And then Asahina's like, yeah, by the way, I'm from the future. I'm like, something happened 3 years ago, but we can't go back to that point. We gotta start here. And then the other guy just shows up. He's like, yo, I'm an Esper. I hear the other two have told you about themselves. That'll make this easy for me.
Yeah.
Because you're already in a spot to believe that I have psychic powers.
Yeah, and you don't see any, I don't think you see anything until episode 4 or 5 when they
episode 5 is when you get to see the Esper stuff.
Okay.
Episode 4, I don't know who she is. I think she's like the class president.
Okay, before okay. This is a character I was telling you about when on our walk that I wanted to talk about.
Okay.
I don't remember what we were exactly talking about, but she, to me, became the formula, the class president girl of like all like anime, like going forward. Because I'm like, this girl looks familiar, and this is when I realized that the show was in 2006 when I actually watched.
You know, I had the same thought because I'm like, I've seen you in like 3 different shows.
I think you were gonna say it too. I think you were gonna say something to the point, but I was like looking at her, I'm like, oh, she's gonna be a main character because the way her hair is.
She's drawn differently than the other characters.
Yeah, and
like she doesn't look like a one-off character.
And I forgot that and
then she kind of turns out to be a one-off character.
Yeah, and she was like, "Oh yeah, by the way, I'm gonna kill myself off," and it's like,
well, it's not. I'm gonna kill myself off. I'm gonna kill you, and then
So like I said, I watched this back in 2020 or 2021. This show kind of holds a special heart because it was either the final days of me being happy, like I'm not so if everybody knows about the show, I have GERD, and that year when I got GERD, it was the most miserable time because we didn't know what it was. So I either watched the show before I had GERD or right after I had GERD. So there's like something special with this show that why I want, like when you told me like, yeah, I got this stuff, I'm like, oh, we've been like meaning to do this for like, I think like 6 months. And do a show, and I was like, let's pull the Band-Aid off. There's a lot of games coming out, a lot of RPG games coming out. Let's waste more time.
I know that you're watching Ultraman right now.
Yeah, I know you're.
Actually, I wasn't.
I know you're playing games with Phil. I know that you're playing RPG games. I know that you're watching anime. I'm gonna throw something else on your list. Let's do this and let's get it done. But
that's kind of the reason why we're doing this as a book club.
Yeah.
So we can do it in segments
And then I think it'd be kind of fun to come together and be like, oh, yeah, I didn't get what you meant by this, or I took this a different way instead of one.
Yeah, because this is gonna be like 36 episodes in a movie.
Yeah,
that's like 17 hours of stuff we need to watch. So since we can do it on our own time,
but like, I forgot about this whole scene of her like going crazy. Like stabbing.
She's like, I have hacked the room. And I think this is where I was just like, excuse me? What did you do? How? What?
This is, because I think this is the first incident. This is the first incident where Keon realizes that,
oh shit, I might actually die.
Yeah. But he's like never, like I said, he's never phased. You know, of course he's shocked, but then.
He's really more like, oh, put that down. Why are you trying to stab me?
Yeah. And
then he gets frozen in place. And because she's like, well, I don't know why I just didn't do this to begin with. I control everything in this room. And then Yuki bursts through the wall.
And she's like, oh, there's my other clone.
And she's like, you're just a backup. You're getting deleted. And class president is like, well, it's going to be pretty hard for you to kill me if you're trying to protect him. And so she basically just used herself as a meat shield. And she's like, well, I've hacked the system. You're dead. You've moved to Canada.
Yeah, and that's The other thing I didn't like about Haruhi is like her just impulsiveness to do things. Because after that she's like, well, we're gonna go to the apartment.
We gotta go to that. We gotta go find out what happened to her. Nobody just moves in the middle of the night.
And like Keon's like, well, how are we gonna get there? Well, reasons. We're gonna go up here and we're gonna sneak in, and then
we'll just wait by the door. Somebody will come out and we'll just walk in.
And then we're going to go to the door, and we're like, oh, I think we get to the door.
Wow, it's really locked.
Well, let's go.
Wow, I can't believe it. It's a locked door.
Yeah, and then they go back downstairs and like
and then they talk to the building manager, and he's like, "Nope, I didn't see him very often. They paid in cash."
Which I started thinking about that too. I'm like, okay, how does this system work? How do they pay for cash? How does somebody get an apartment? Like, if you can hack the system, how come you just don't hack the system? And then, like, why do you have to actually pay for it?
What probably happens, they probably hacked it to make it appear that she had the money.
Okay.
And she just handed him hacked money. Like, she just hacked money out of somebody's bank account into her hand. And I don't know. It's the 3-year thing comes up again. Like, oh, she moved in 3 years ago. It's like, oh, convenient.
Yeah. Yeah, I wonder if Haruhi's going to put that together. See how I swap back to...
It's fine.
But I wonder if she's going to put that together. Like, eventually she's going to have to figure out that either she's God or she's being controlled. I still think that she's being controlled.
I haven't. I'm just going with what the show's told me. I'm thinking, yeah, she's got some supernatural aura going on. That
the one thing so this came from another podcast. So I don't remember who it was, but I didn't pick up it the first time I watched it. But I thought it was kind of weird. But I didn't think that she was talking to me. But when the first episode, I think it only happens once, when Keon's talking to himself, he's talking about Haruhi's hair and how she does each thing.
The 1 knot, 2 knot, 3 knot.
And Haruhi turns and looks at the camera and responds to him. I don't remember exactly what she says something. She says something to us. But when I first watched it, I thought she was just saying something. Like it was just a coincidence that she said. But she was responding to him, but responding to us.
I didn't catch that, so I'm not gonna go back and watch the stuff. So.
Yeah, I should take notes. I didn't know how serious we were going to be. Looking over, Jay, when we went for a walk today, he said, "Yeah, I took some notes." And I'm like looking, I'm like, it looks like paragraphs over there.
It's really just an outline of what happens in the episode. Like, since we're talking about episode 5 right now, Haruhi goes to investigate the old condo of the backup alien and reveals her existential crisis. And that's when they crossing over the train, and she's like, I used to think I was so special. And then we went to this baseball game, and there were
50,000 people.
50,000 people in the stadium. And that was a lot of people. And then I Googled how many people are in Japan, and it's like over 2 million. So, like, even that amount of people, they're incredibly small. And then there's me, one of 2 million. Like, I am an incredibly small person right now. And Kuan just kind of goes, yeah?
What about it?
Well, I see that you're going that way. That's actually the fastest way for me to get home. So
I'll stand here and wait till you leave.
And then after that, the Espers are basically emotion police who fight giants. That's my summary for episode 5. Because I do not remember the Esper's name. It's like Koizumi or something like that.
Yeah, I got it right on here. It's Iizuki Kamizumi.
Yeah, he shows up and he's like, hey, so I found a good time to show you my powers. Hop in this cab. We need to go, like, 20 miles out of town or 20 minutes out from where we are. And he's like, check it out. Here's an enclosed space. But the real show is that giant over there. I'm going to go fuck it up. I will be back in a minute.
Yeah, he says anything can break in this world, but it doesn't cause any damage to the real world.
And he's like, we think it's some sort of manifestation of Haruhi's emotional state. Like whenever she's calm and collected, we don't normally have to fight these, but if something's going on with her, these can pop up daily. And we can't just leave them. And that's basically how the episode ends, is he takes care of that. And I think he's gotten like warnings from like 3 people, all 3 of the club members who were like, hey, something's gonna happen soon. Be prepared.
Well, okay, yeah. So the third warning I don't know if this happens after the fight or whatever.
I think are you talking about the time traveler?
Yeah, she comes back with the mole.
Yeah, I think
the star mole.
Yeah, that's after the fight. That's
okay.
That's 6.
Yeah, okay. Then I'll bring that up after.
I mean, we're basically at episode 6 now, because like episode 5 ends with him coming home.
Yeah, so he gets home and then like he falls asleep and then he wakes up in him and Haruhi.
Well, no, that's halfway through 6. He has a normal day.
Does he?
Yeah, he goes to school. He gets in his shoe locker. He finds another note because this happened before, and it's like, "Hey, come to the club room. We've got."
Oh, is that the time traveler?
Yeah, and it's Masahina, and so he goes there, and it's not her current or her younger form. It's
her older form.
Yeah, one that's like 5 years older or something like that. That's what he's like. That's what he's thinking.
Oh, before we move on, I want to say she's probably one of the most frustrating characters because she's like, I want to tell you stuff, but that's classified. Because
she can't alter the timeline.
But why would you bring it up? Like you're effectively affecting the timeline by bringing it up.
It's fine enough to be like, I'm a time traveler, because that's not going to change anything. It's when you start going, this is what happens tomorrow. That's gonna change something. I don't know. I do find the. So how old are you?
That's classified.
And she does it cutely, like she did when he was questioning her earlier. But like the whole star mole thing, that's.
Yeah, because that's funny. Because she's like, "Oh, you're the one who told me about the star mole." And then he's like, "Star mole."
I didn't tell you about.
And then he goes and looks at picture. This is what I want to bring up before that whole big fight. But he goes and looks up pictures. He saved pictures of what Haruhi took of Asanina. And
he was going to delete. Okay, so Haruhi wanted to upload them to the club's website. And
he's like, there's a lot of pervs out on, because this is going to go to the whole World Wide Web, and there's a lot of pervs out there.
And he's like, no, that's a little too much. But I can't bring myself to delete them because I'm a teenager. And then he puts them in a folder with her name on it.
on the school computer.
On the desktop. Like, not hidden in folders.
Because I thought he was going to save it to like a USB drive or something.
That's what I was thinking. And then he does, and he's like, new folder? On the desktop. Perfect.
But like, so he's like, Star Mole, and he was going through looking at pictures. And then Asanina's like, her normal form's like, what are you looking at?
Yeah, and she comes over and he quickly closes out and he's like, oh, I'm not doing anything. She's like, oh, look, there's a folder named after me.
Yeah. And I think this is like where Haru snaps because they see them like on each other. Mm-hmm. I think she gets jealous and she leaves, and this is where, yeah, you're right.
Yeah, and then he goes home. And this means nothing, but his sister comes in and steals his scissors.
I thought she was gonna die.
I thought he was gonna be like, "Hey, don't run with those."
I couldn't remember because I don't think she dies, but like she's holding him in a way, and the show is like it's like a normal show, but it also is like a little bit kind of horror-ish in a way where like. The world could just end one day if Haruhi snaps.
Yeah,
the world's just dead.
They're really teetering on the edge there.
And like she's holding the scissors, and I'm like, please don't tell me she's gonna run and like fall, because I couldn't remember if she did or not. But yeah, she ends up. Yeah, they both Kion and Haruhi wake up.
Yeah, at the school.
And like
in a pocket dimension.
Kion already knows what's happening. But he's not gonna tell.
Yeah, she's kind of freaking out, and he's just like, "Well, we need to find Koizumi," and she's like, "Why?" And he's like, "Oh, no reason." And so they go to the club room, and Koizumi shows up as a silhouette because this is a different pocket dimension or a different type of pocket dimension.
This is the strongest one.
And he's like, "Yo, You're like Adam and Eve. You're going to make a new world, and bye." Also, Yuki wants you to look at the computer.
Oh, before... I want to bring this up, because... So, I'm also trying to, like, find details, because I want to have, like, something interesting to talk about. But, you notice when he gets smaller, he turns into a baby?
I didn't notice that.
He turns into a little fetus.
Oh, I thought he was just a little fireball at that point.
Yeah, well, the final thing is a fireball, but before he turns into the fireball, he's a little fetus.
I wasn't paying that.
So I'm like, oh, that's interesting, because I'm trying to figure out, because this is like I said, this is heavily based on God and religion without saying it's God, getting into it. So I'm just like trying to figure out, since I know some of the plot, but
you're trying to find all those
because like I said, I didn't know about the talking to the screen until somebody pointed it out, and it's like, okay, let me. But yeah, this is where the world's gonna end if oh yeah, so you can go ahead and finish because you were gonna say talk to the computer.
Yeah, he's like, yo, talk to the computer. That's all Yuki told me to tell you.
Oh, sorry. Before I forget, so I don't know do you have subtitles on yours?
No, I'm not watching with subtitles.
So I have subtitles on mine, and the subtitles do not match what they're saying.
Oh, you're getting the translated subs.
Oh, is that what it is?
Yeah, this happened to Phil and I when we watched Godzilla. We were getting the English audio, but we were getting the subtitles from the Japanese audio.
Okay.
So there would be a little like...
Yeah, because it's like, oh, the sky is blue, and then in translation, blue sky, or something like that.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, this is kind of annoying. But what I was going to say is, when they're texting back and forth, I'm like reading it, because it's really fast, and I'm like, okay, I understand when they're speaking English, it's just nice to have the little subtitle on the bottom. Mm-hmm. But like, how's it gonna be for translating? Is this gonna be like a whole different thing where? So you can go ahead.
And to be honest, I forgot what she says.
I didn't really keep up on it. It's something about the time traveler said something about Snow White, and then
yeah, remember Snow White when you're in danger, and I don't think that actually came up.
It was the kiss, because Snow White didn't she get poisoned by an apple?
Yeah. What was the kiss? What?
Because wasn't the prince like she went?
Is that how Snow White was resolved?
I think so. Because she's like, oh, eat this apple. She eats the apple and then she lays in a bed, and then the prince comes and kisses her.
It's been so long since I've even like registered Snow White.
That's always like.
I mean, I guess the kiss is like the most generic thing, because like Sleeping Beauty was also a kiss.
Yeah, well, that's how it always was. It's like they're always sleeping. You gotta kiss them.
Yeah, true love's kiss and what? Yeah, I think you're right.
I think oh my god, that one girl was like
Asahina.
Nah, Asahina, because Asahina's the one that said Snow White, but
Yuki.
Yeah, I think she said something about remember the story or something like that.
Mm. Yeah, so they run out to the field, and he's like, I don't want to see them in this world. I want to see them in that world.
In our world.
In the old world. And Haruhi doesn't understand what he's saying. She's just like, no, we'll see them in the morning. Because I don't think she understands that she's creating a new world right now. And then he's just like, I've got a pigtail fetish. Or a ponytail fetish. And I'm like, okay, did that come up?
Yeah, I don't know where that came from. I think he wanted. No, you know what it was? I think he wanted to see if
that would translate back to the real world.
Yeah.
Or the old world.
Yeah.
Because I mean, I know he does comment on it when they get back to the old world.
Yeah, because she's like wearing the pigtail and.
Okay.
But yeah, he kisses her and then they wake. He wakes up. He falls out of bed. He's like, well, that was a nightmare. And then he goes to school, and then yeah, she's like, oh, I had a nightmare too. And that's why I did the ponytail.
Yeah.
And then that's where we end.
And then after the credits, he's like, the club is supposed to meet up where they met up in like the third episode. Except everybody else called in, and he's like, well, I'm here early, so she's going to get the punishment of having to buy me lunch. And I'm going to ask her about all these things. And that's where we end for our first session.
Nice. Yeah, I can't wait to see what happens, because like I've said numerous times, remembering it, I remember all the stuff towards the end of the season, but I guess it's all the beginning, Because I think the next 6 episodes aren't going to have...
an overarching plot.
Yeah.
It's just going to be slice of life kind of stuff.
Yeah. So I'm interested to see. I'm interested to see where they really take it. You know, like I said, everything I've heard of this, of the Melancholy, is like people are like
Season 1's great. Season 2's trash.
yeah. So I'm excited to finish season 1, and then go to season 2, and then I think it's a disappearance next. But you guys will.
I mean, both the movie and the spinoff are the disappearance.
Yeah. It's kind of interesting why they decided to do both. But yeah, we will see you.
After this nice screen transition.
I always say I'm going to edit stuff, and then I get in there, I'm like...
Well, I assume you're going to put up a part 1 screen thing. It's going to be just a black screenshot with the word part 1 talking, and it's going to be this half-hour segment, and then we're going to move on, and it's going to be part 2, and then the audio's going to start again.
Sounds like you want to edit this video.
I don't really want to edit this video.
Well, we'll see you guys in like a couple short seconds, and I'll see you in 7 days. Been a week.
Been 3 seconds.
3 seconds for you guys, a week for us. And we have episodes. So we stopped we stopped at episode
11.
Which I don't think I put anything down for episode 11.
Did you even watch episode 11? I thought you said, yeah, I watched 10, and then I stopped there.
No, I just started at 10, and I knew behind the scenes, I knew my package was coming, so I was like, I didn't want to start it.
Mm.
And so I was like, I'll just stop here, and then I finished them on Friday.
Move that a little bit.
But starting at episode 12, I believe, is the infamous 8 arcs, or like, I was like, well, let's just watch the whole 8 arc in one sitting and see how annoying it is.
Yeah.
But anyways, okay. So starting off, episode 10 is the baseball episode where
7.
Yes. Where Haruhi comes in and she's like,
"We're gonna do baseball," and Keon's like, "What? What do you mean we're gonna do baseball? We don't have enough people." And they like sort of abduct somebody.
Yeah, they abduct somebody, and then they bring...
And then Keon brings his 2 side supporting characters in that we haven't seen since like the first episode.
Yeah, I thought they were in it more. I thought that they were...
And then he brings in his little sister, who I don't think has a name. Yeah,
I don't think so. I love Haruhi's just like, and you brought her. And I was like, and she like pointed, and I was like, okay, she has something... deal with somebody, and then like points at his sister.
I just like how Harvey's just like, and you little sister, you will be outfield.
Yeah,
or something like that.
I hate her name. I hate that Harvey always calls her little sister. I was like, that's just kind of weird.
I do like how Keon brings little sister in just so they can lose and go home faster.
Yeah,
and Koizumi's like, hey, if we lose. We got some demons making some pocket dimensions. Those are getting worse. We need to win this.
Yeah, this is kind of where I get frustrated with Haruhi's character traits, where it's like, okay, you're losing at baseball, which I think this is the only episode that I really had, I think, where I thought about what Haruhi is, what her thing is, but. Yeah, it's like frustrating. It's like, okay, it should just be a fun... I get you want to win, but it should just be fun. And now you're like, I got to destroy the world because we're not winning.
Well, I want to win because we'll get more people in the SOS group. They'll come to us for things. And people don't come to losers for things. Although, I do like how they just kind of go, hey, Yuki, can you just cheat for us? And she's just like, yeah, no, I've enhanced the bat. It's always going to hit a home run.
Yeah.
Regardless.
Yeah, I get tired of the...
No, I think it's funnier now.
No, I see it, I just cringe. I was like...
No, I see it, I just think, she's part fish. And then, yeah.
Oh, before I should say, Haruhi, I wrote this down, one of my notes is, Haruhi hits 1,000 baseballs. And Kyone's like, you were counting those to Kasumi or whatever his name is? And, yeah.
Yeah, no, yeah. Did she hit or did she throw the pitch?
No, she batted 1,000.
Okay.
And that's why the bat's all dented up.
I do like how she just walks in like, hey, baseball team, we're taking the field. And they're like, what? Yeah, we're just doing it. I don't know if she tries to commit a crime or not.
No, the only crime she commits is I put skirts are distracting. So when they're losing, she's like,
oh yeah, they get in the cheerleader outfits.
Yeah. I was like, okay. But yeah, I do like that the Pirates guy, because after they kind of forfeit. I don't remember how they.
It wasn't it like a best of 3 kind of deal.
Yeah.
And I think they just go, hey. Well,
because
Koizumi's like, hey, I gotta leave to go take care of the emotion demons.
Yeah.
And they're like, hey, so since we're down a player and we won the game, you want to just call it good? And she's just like, yeah, sure, whatever. I'm like, oh, okay, that was that easy.
And then the Pirate's like, oh, that bat, can we buy it from you? But yeah, so I think that's all I really got to say on the episode.
I mean, we talked about that one for a bit longer than I thought, because like my notes were just the club goes to play baseball and inevitably cheat to keep Haruhi happy. That was my notes.
Oh, the other thing I put down, I don't remember now why I put it down, but in the baseball thing, Kyon is called cleanup.
Yeah, he's the cleanup hitter.
And I'm like, okay. Still, I'm trying to figure out the plot of what Kyon is, because now I don't think he's got it anymore. I think he's. I don't know what he is, but I still believe that he's the one that kind of willed everybody into existence.
I mean, we'll get to that in the next episode.
Yeah. So, I guess. Oh, and the other thing I had is Haruhi. Every time Kyon looks at Asahina, Haruhi always like gives him a side eye.
Mm-hmm.
So like I think Haruhi's in love with, maybe doesn't know that she's in love with Kyon, but Kyon's like in love with Asahina.
Yeah.
And
I mean, he does make the comment like, yeah, if I try to do something, it's just gonna make it worse.
I don't know where I don't know if I put it in somewhere else. But I did notice that it kind of feels like, I don't want to speak for the Japanese, but you know, a lot of them are kind of not forced, but they're kind of like, you're gonna do this type of job.
Mm-hmm.
And I almost feel like Kyon's kind of that character where he's being forced to love Haruhi, but he doesn't really love Haruhi because he never talks like not, I don't want to say positive, but like lovey-dovey, like how he talks like Asahina. Like Asahina.
Well, he's a tsundere.
What's that?
It's the whole trope of like, I don't love you, idiot, baka, and slap. He's that.
But yeah, that's because
I assume by the end of it he's gonna have more direct feelings for her.
Yeah, I always imagine he's gonna be kind of forced into. But yeah, so episode 8, time travel.
Yeah, this one. So before we get into it, last time you said something about episode 1 where Haruhi talks to the camera.
Yeah.
So I went back to check that because I wanted to refresh, and I don't know if he was actually monologuing to himself or if he was speaking at that point, but that's not what I want to get at. Because immediately after that, she's like, have I met you somewhere before, like in the past?
Oh, interesting.
And I'm like, oh, that ties in a lot with this episode. Because, yeah, he gets sent to the past for reasons, and older Asahina comes out and is like, hey, you need to go to the school now and help who's ever there. I'm outie. And if you want a reward, you can just kiss my younger self while she's unconscious. And I'm just like, oh, that's kind of weird. Because, I mean, yeah, that's technically you, but that's also not you.
Wouldn't you, if you were sitting next to a girl and your past self was, you're like, yeah, if you want to kiss him, you go right ahead. Oh, before we move on from that, I just put down the two funny things. Asahina drugs Kyon. and then for part 2, Asahina drugs Asahina.
So yeah, Keon goes to the school, and lo and behold, it's Haruhi who's there, and he's got to help her draw the lines that we heard about in the first episode.
And he says all the key words there, too.
Mm-hmm. 3 years ago, when she took an interest in aliens, time travelers, and espers.
Yep, and he mentions all of them, and that's who she goes out and gets.
Mm-hmm. And I'm thinking that's going to be the big point on where all these supernatural beings have originated from. Like, this is the point where they're like, oh, hey, so Haruhi is a thing. Except maybe not so much, considering Yuki's already there in the past.
Yeah, she's sitting standby.
Yeah, so they go to her house, or her apartment, and they're like, hey, how do time travel? And she's like, well, here's some beds. Take a nap.
For 3 whole years.
And I like how Asahina's freaking out about it. I'm like, they're not even connected. Like, if you got that much of an issue with it, just scooch your little futon over.
I know. That's such an over. Yeah, I get the premise, but like still,
like yeah,
it's 2 different cots with 2 blankets.
I'm just like, hey, I mean, like, it's not that big a deal. And then they turn around and they wake up and they're in the present. And they're like, so when I came to... And Keon's like, so when I came to visit you a while ago, I was in the room over there? She's like, yes. Would have been wild if you opened that door, let me tell you.
Did she say that?
No.
Oh, I can't remember. That would have been funny. I just hear her saying in that, it would have been wild if you opened that door. That's all I really have of that episode. I didn't really have much.
Yeah, as important as that episode seems to be, I mean...
So,
that's basically it.
These 5... let's see. Yeah, the 5 episodes we watched, I was kind of... They were flying by, but it was also like... They seemed like they were dragging on, too, at the same time. I was, like, kind of bored. Like, because, like, nothing really happened.
It felt like the filler stuff. I mean, like, it was connected, and the plot was quote-unquote advancing.
Yeah.
But it felt like, hey, this is the slice of life stuff. And
I think episode 8 was the one where I felt like it was a different year. Because one of them, it comes up saying this is a 2006 time. I vaguely remember somebody saying that there was maybe troubled history with editing the videos or something, making the videos. Mm-hmm. Because I think it was episode 8 where, because Haruhi comes in and she's like all quiet and her voice actress seems either like a different one or just like, oh, I can't do that high pitched voice anymore. Mm. And that's where I was like, do you have this episode, Jacob? Because if you watch the ending too, believe the credits is different as well.
Oh, was it? I didn't watch the ending. I didn't watch the credits.
I don't usually watch the credits, but that one I was just like.
I mean, sometimes ending credits don't. Sometimes they just have one episode that's got different ending credits for no reason. Because, like, Chainsaw Man, every ending had different credits.
Yeah. Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I can see it.
They had new credits for everything. For every episode. Anyway.
Episode 9. I'll start off with Haruhi calls out hackers and crackers.
Yeah, so Haruhi makes a logo in Microsoft Paint. And she's like, I want to add this to the website because we need a logo. Because there's nothing on this website. And so they upload it, and then I think the next day they come in and they're like, yo, why is it fuzzy?
Yeah, why is it fuzzy? And we have like 15,000 or...
We got like 30,000 hits on this fuzzy ass logo. And then I think a few days later, a girl comes in and is like, hey, my boyfriend, he's gone missing. And because Keon puts up flyers being like, hey, we'll help, we're like a consulting agency now. Just so the club can continue to exist. And the first person to come in is this girl looking for her boyfriend. And the boyfriend turns out to be the computer lab nerd that got blackmailed.
Yeah.
And so they go to his house, or his apartment, and there's nothing there except Koizumi and Yuki are like, it feels weird here. It feels like
there's a desert somewhere around here.
It feels like a closed space, but not one that Haruhi created. So they let Haruhi leave, and then they come back. Because they can't let her know that these things are real. And, Yuki teleports them to a desert, essentially. And she goes to point, and Kion's like, hey, wait, hang on. What are you doing? I want to know what to prepare for. I'm pointing.
Yeah, my favorite thing is that they're looking at the camel beetle, and Kion's looking the opposite way. And I'm like, yeah, look at this thing right here. And he's like, holy shit!
Oh, it's the worst CG.
Yeah.
Like, I looked at that, I'm like, oh, this looks bad.
I didn't think it was too bad.
I mean, I know it was 2006, but I'm looking at it, I'm like, oh, this is so jarring.
The only CG that I've been kind of put off with is, I think, episode 2, where Yuki says that she's a alien, and they have her like top down looking. And that's the only time I've seen the CG.
The only, anytime they put 3D models in, I always look at it and I go, well, I don't know about that one.
Are you over here saying that you hate 3D in anime? And
No, it's so weird.
Have you heard that debate? Just to get a little off topic just for a second.
I've heard there are some purists who are like, no, it has to all be hand drawn or whatever. It can't be 3D model.
I'm just like, I don't give a shit. As long as it doesn't turn out like that one anime with the
X-Arm?
Yeah, it was an X-Arm that has where the one guy's in 3D and his brother's in 2D.
I think that was X-Arm, yeah. No, I look at it. It's weird because modern anime, I don't so much mind the 3D because it looks like it fits a little bit better.
Yeah, most of the time I don't even notice it.
But with this being a mid-2000s anime,
they were just starting to get the.
You can very much tell the characters and the cars are not the same.
Yeah.
Along with this camel. What was it?
Oh, camel beetle.
Camel beetle. Okay.
Don't worry, I wrote it down.
I'm glad you did, because I just called it an ancient CGI. And so basically they just Koizumi's like, yeah, I can only use 10% of my power, but
that's all I need.
But maybe that's all I need, and then he throws a fireball at it, and a little drone comes by and heals it.
And he throws another fireball and kills it.
And then it's like, oh, well, okay, well, I don't know what the point of the drone was, and it turns out computer lab nerd is safe, and they bring him home, and then he's like, I don't have a girlfriend. And Kion's like, I bet Yuki was the one who hacked the logo, made it fuzzy so when people saw it, it didn't create pocket dimensions.
Was she the one that hacked it?
I think so. Of the 3 characters who can possibly do it, it's probably her.
Well, that defeats my final thing. Because I thought they did. He said that's a possibility, and then they were talking about, oh yeah, this alien came from another thing and likes the internet. So I put down Camel Beetle likes the internet.
But no. For some reason, the beetle can survive off data. So they explained it, and it was really dumb sounding, actually. But they're like, yeah, no, anybody who would see this logo would it would send data to the beetle, and the beetle would fucking send them to a pocket dimension. Only 3 people on campus got fucked over, but out of there was at least 9 cases. I'm like, oh, so we're just gonna ignore those other people. I mean, I know there's not much you can do about it if they're say in Brazil or something, but we're just gonna let them die. They're dead now. They're gone.
No, we'll find out that it's connected. There's another anime that's connected to this thing. That they're out there fighting.
All right, episode 10.
I call episode 10 the fetish episode. And the reason I call it the fetish episode is because I was looking at my phone when they're... Because I don't know. These 2 episodes, because I already seen them before, I was like, I already knew kind of the plot to what happened.
Mm-hmm.
But I was looking at my phone, and I look up, and there's just Haruhi's ass. Just right. I shit you not. I was like looking down. I looked up. I'm like, oh wow, we're like right up in there.
Yeah, no, I remember that. I'm like, that's weird that you're just doing this camera angle now.
That's what I thought too. I was like,
you didn't do a whole lot of fan service. Well, I guess they did, like the whole bunny suits and anything involving Asahina. I mean, I guess there was the signs, but like, no, they just go full ass shot. This one is like, oh, hello there. Anyway, like the whole thing about this one is the gang goes to murder Mystery Island.
Yeah.
Koizumi is like, hey, my uncle or something, he just built a house on this island. Would you like to visit? It'll be 3 days, 4 nights, or 4 days, 3 nights, something like that.
Yeah, I think.
We're going there for like a week. You in? Because we need to have the obligatory beach episode. And so they do the beach episode, and everything's fine until the second day when the storm rages. And they're like, oh man, I can't believe we're in a closed circle, or whatever he called it. And then they go upstairs, and they find out the uncle has been murdered. Bum, bum, bum.
You know what's funny? I already knew. I like I said, I already seen this episode, but I forgot how it happened. But I was like, sitting there, I'm like, all right, what details am I looking for here? And then
I mean, nothing happens in the first episode. They set up the possible suspects. They're like, hey, here's the butler, here's the maid, here's his brother, and like, I think when I was watching, I'm like, yeah, I bet the butler and the maid are gonna have something to do with it. And then I'm like, you know, I bet the brother's gonna have something to do with it. And then we go on to the next episode. Murder Mystery Island continues as the gang tries to solve the mystery. It was a hoax. They were all in on it together.
Yeah, because there's a scene where Haruhi's thinking about it, and then her mind just breaks.
Yeah, so what happens is they chase a shadowy figure, and they fall down the cliff, and as they're drying off in a cave, Haruhi's like, I think I figured it out. What happened was, brother stabbed uncle, except uncle didn't die, and brother took off in the night. So when uncle heard us knocking at the door, he got up, and I think she said he unlocked it. No, he locked it. And when we burst down the door, no, sorry, that was Koizumi's thing.
Don't worry, this whole episode was just dumb.
Haruhi's like, well, uncle fell on his face.
Yeah,
and that's how the knife got pushed in. And Kion's like, that's stupid. He was on his back.
And you can just see her mind just break.
And she just goes,
you see a line go through.
I was wrong. I don't want to play detective anymore. And then Koizumi's like, it was actually us who murdered him, because he was getting up to open the door, and we pushed the door, and it stabbed him. And then Kion's like, well, I guess I'm gonna strangle you now.
Yeah, I know. I was like, okay, what the fuck? And then it has no, I mean,
and then the next scene is them walking in, and I'm like,
okay, but before we go any further, here's the thing I hate about people who accidentally kill somebody. When they accidentally kill somebody, then they're like, I listen to a lot of murder shows, and they're like, yeah, I accidentally did this, and so why didn't you call? Well, I didn't want to get in trouble. Well, you just made it fucking worse. Like, if you would just called, we could have saved this person, and
I mean, we could have at least saved some money on the investigation.
Yeah, if you just came forward, and so now you're making it so complicated, and then Kyoen's like, well, now I gotta kill you. God damn it, what's his name?
Koizumi.
I almost want to say Yukizami, but Kazumi or whatever. And it's like, I was sitting there, I'm like, Where the fuck? How did you get from here to here?
And so what they do is they use Keon's little sister to distract the butler, I think. And while he's distracted, Haruhi and Keon walk in, and they're like, "Well, we're gonna have to make Keon or Koizumi got stabbed, so we're gonna have to make it look like brother was a real psycho. So we're just gonna stab this guy a lot." And then Uncle just wakes up like, "Nope, nope, 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 don't stab me." And they're like, "I can't believe you solved the mystery." And as Haruhi's listing out the evidence, Keon's like, "Yep, I found that. That was me. Yep, I'm the master detective here." And as they're leaving, Koizumi and Keon are talking, and Koizumi's like, "So when did you figure out?" And he's like, "As soon as we got on the boat."
Yeah, I was like, "Fuck you, Keon."
As soon as you brought up this idea to go to your uncle's fucking murder mystery island, I already knew you were doing something. I'm like, sure you did.
I'm like, sure we all thought about that, but still, it's like, oh yeah, I knew it from the whole time. I'm like, yeah, fuck off. Just his character, I just hate his character. I mean, I don't hate him. He's a lot better than some other main protagonists, but he's just one of those like, yeah, I'm really that smart. It's like,
I mean, I guess it really doesn't take a genius to go, yeah, so they're basically trying to keep her happy.
Right.
So as long as she is preoccupied with potential murder mystery, she won't be trying to create the emotion demons.
Could you imagine? Let's just say this is all true. You know, I'm in the minds of the five of them. You know, it's like high school. It's like, oh, if we get through high school, it's all done. But you're going to have to keep this fucking chick happy for the rest of her fucking life. I mean, that's like Japanese people live to like 90. And so that's like another 80 plus years of like, well, let's hopefully Haru doesn't want to.
Well,
now keep in mind, this was, I don't know when this episode came out, but this was, if this came out in 2009, this was 2 years before the tsunami hit Japan. Do you imagine what her mind? I don't.
Well, it depends on where she was at the time.
True, but
it didn't hit Tokyo, did it? It was like somewhere.
No, it was just low.
It was just like way south.
Yeah, basically what happened was there was
or west or east or whatever direction.
Yeah, I don't remember wherever the earthquake hit. The places didn't. I believe that there was like oil down below. I could be completely wrong on this, but from all the boats and stuff. Mm-hmm. And so when the wave came over, that helped push it up higher. Mm-hmm. And the islands the buildings weren't structured for tsunamis. But I believe Tokyo, wherever Tokyo's that side felt the earthquake. Now, to how strong it was, I don't know. But can you imagine her in that time period?
Well, she would want to go investigate it. That would keep her happy.
Oh my god, I think Godzilla's coming.
Well, and then she would spawn Godzilla.
You said I didn't mean to cut you off. Were you saying something before I cut you off? Oh, but we were talking about you have to keep her happy for 80.
Well, I was thinking, like, I feel like an adult is easier to placate than a teenager. Because, like, an adult, all you gotta do is be like, here's a beer.
I don't know.
Here's I don't know. Here's your paycheck. Here's this new anime I bought.
I was gonna say for us it'd be like, here's a new anime figure. Here's a figure. here's a new anime to watch, or here's this.
Although then again, I don't know too many people who were like, no, I gotta go out and hunt for Bigfoot right now. I gotta find the Bigfoot.
Because that's so another thing I think a lot of people talk about, and this is from the perspective, I think, of Americans talking about Japanese, so I apologize if this is incorrect, but why there's so many high school animes is that once you leave high school, you're, like, working, like, 8+ hours a day.
I think I've heard that. Like, high school is the time for when you're supposedly the time for you to express yourself, as opposed to when you become a salaryman.
Yeah.
And you're unhappy. Unless you join the Yakuza or something.
I instantly lost my train of thought after talking about that. Well, I don't remember where I was going in that, but
anyway.
Yeah, you said we were going for a walk today. You had something you were gonna say?
Yeah, that was the whole when I went back to episode 1.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. That was my little bit of intrigue because I watched it after. I skimmed through it after the episode 10 because I didn't want to switch discs yet.
Yeah.
So I went back and the whole. Did I meet you in the past?
I'm glad you brought that up because I probably wouldn't have caught that because I was gonna go back and watch episode 2 because I wanted to bring it up to see if she was responding to him talking because I don't think he was talking. I think he was talking to his head.
He was off screen, so it could have been either or.
Yeah.
And his monologue voice doesn't sound that much different than his speaking voice.
I was gonna bring it up because I think Asahina in one of the episodes responded to something too when he was thinking in his head. So I was like, okay, maybe it's not as special as what I thought. Like I said, I was going off somebody else's thing. So yeah, so that's the 5 episodes. So next week for us. And in 30 seconds or whatever, less than 30 seconds for you guys, well, probably a little bit more, is the famous or the infamous 8 arc or
what was it? Endless 8.
Yeah, Endless 8 arc.
I don't know if that's actually what it's called. I know it's something 8.
So we're gonna
part 1 through 8.
So we're gonna watch 8 episodes of that, and we'll talk about that.
Hopefully it won't suck. Hopefully people are blowing this out of proportion.
Yeah, I can imagine. I don't know if it was you telling me or if it was Kenny telling me, but like I think it was you because I don't think Kenny would. But like if you're waiting week to week, I could totally see that.
Yeah, if you're living in the moment and you want to see it, and then it's just the same episode 8 times apparently.
Yeah, with different variations.
I could see how that would be not great, but I feel like it will be different for us because we can just watch them all back to back.
I believe we'll be about more than halfway through the.
Yeah, that'd be that'll finish in 19.
Yeah, so then we'll finish up the rest of the episodes.
Yeah.
Well, there's 28. There's 28 episodes. That's throwing me off. It's just 4 extra. Yeah, so 19. Yeah, we could probably get all those done. And then
the last session.
It's only 12 episodes for the Yuki one, right?
I don't know.
Yeah,
we'll find that out later.
So I'm delaying the inevitable of turning it off, but.
Okay. Well, we'll see you in a matter of seconds.
All right, now we're on to the favorite of everybody's.
The thing that everybody really loves.
I'm gonna say first thing. People have talked about this. And I was like, I wasn't like rolling my eyes, like, yeah, you guys are over exaggerating. But I was like, because people are like, oh yeah, they, it's the same episode, but there's different variations.
Yeah.
Now they weren't really clear when they say variations. It was like, oh, they're just going to wear a different shirt today.
I mean, they did do that.
Well, yeah, but I thought it was like, oh, let's try this, and then let's try this, like, but it's always the episode always goes like, oh, we're going to the beach, or we're going to the pool. And then there's no diving. And then
it's all the same comments every single time.
They do the festival.
With the exception of the first episode where they don't do the time loop nonsense. And then the last episode where 2 minutes of the ending.
Yeah, I was surprised.
Going through it, I was making like little like observations. Like, well, we'll get to it when we get to it. But I suppose we should explain the first episode, and then that will explain the next 7 episodes.
Well, okay. So yeah, so like then they like I said, they do the gold fishing. Make sure that we do the gold fishing because that's all Asahina wants to do.
To be fair, there are time loops when they don't do that.
Which I don't think none of the time loops that they did.
None of the 7 time loops that we got. They skipped the fishing.
And then what's his name? The guy, not Keon, but
Koizumi.
He always looks at the paper, and then puts the paper down, which I don't.
That's him having his
moment.
His deja.
That's what I thought. That's what I figured it probably was.
Because he and Keone are the only two that have deja vu, but not to the extent that they can do anything about it. And then Yuki just is living in hell.
Yeah.
600 years of these 2 weeks.
Yeah, we'll get into that. And then after the festival, then they go bug catching, where it's whoever wins gets to be the club president for a day.
No thanks.
Surprise, Haruhi always wins. Then what happens after that? Oh, then they go to the market, and they're salesmen. They're in
They get part-time jobs, and they dress up as frogs.
And then Haruhi's like, yeah, I have an eye in that frog suit. That's your payment. And then
they go bowling. There's karaoke. I took a note.
He says it's so weird. Karaoke.
That's how Japanese people say it.
Yeah, I'm not making fun. I just like how Keone goes, karaoke. He just says it.
Karaoke.
Karaoke. We did some karaoke.
I did take notes on the bowling. Asahina can't bowl. They quickly scroll over the scores, and like every other round, she's got gutters.
Nice.
Like she either gets one or she gets a gutter ball.
Yeah, I didn't pay attention to it. But
I just saw that really quick, and I'm like, well, okay, let me pull out my Google Translate and see who's the one who sucks.
And then usually after that, Keone gets waken up by Hasehina making the most. Every time I hear it, I've watched 7 episodes. I swear to God, every time I'm like, she got raped. And he's like, something bad happened. And then
I shouldn't laugh at that.
No. Well, it's just how she says it. And then
Koizumi chimes in. He's like, I'm here with her. And he's like, you bastard!
You bastard! You raped her!
Call me next time.
Yeah. Oh my God, dude, I lose 7 fucking episodes, and it's just like it gets more and more like passive aggressive. Like, that's my girlfriend.
You stay away from her.
Okay, you're mine. But then he shows up, and then they explain that there's a time loop.
This is only an episode. This is the second loop throughout the next 7 episodes.
Yeah.
They don't do this in the first episode.
Yeah, it just kind of ends with them doing like a bunch of
They go fishing. They go see movies. They do all the things you do during your summer vacation.
And then what's her name says, anybody else want to do anything? Okay, nobody else wants to do anything? All right, homework time. And then Keone's like, oh, I don't want to do my homework.
I mean, I've only got a day to do 3 days worth of homework.
Yeah,
and then he wakes up the next morning, and hey, guess what? 15,498 loops later.
Yeah, that was... I didn't like that. It should have... It would make more sense if they started off with like, oh, this is like the 300 time that we looped.
Yeah, they started with low numbers and then kind of went to high. No, they just immediately hit you with 15,498.
It's 595 years.
They don't go... You don't get every loop, though. Like, I think they end with 15,524.
Yeah,
something like that.
I was kind of noticing that, where it's like, oh, they skipped like 3 or something.
So, yeah,
But, like, after that, then...
before we start getting into the loops, you mentioned in the first part where Haruhi responds to his monologue. She does that again.
Yeah.
In the first of Endless 8, he comes out, he's like... He's not moving his mouth, so I'm assuming this is an inner monologue. And he's like, well, I always get stuck with the bill. And then she's like, because you're always late.
Yeah, I didn't notice that. I stopped because I'm like... I didn't know if it was off screen or...
No, because he definitely comes out when he's saying it. You can see his face.
Okay.
He's either not animated or he's thinking.
Well, that's the other thing. Their animations for like the kids. I wanted to take a picture of it, but I was like, I'm gonna feel awkward. But then, like the kids like have like fucking piercing hands, arms. Like they're gonna go stab somebody. Like.
Yeah, no. Once they get far enough away, like the art style kind of deteriorates.
Yeah. Let's see, what else did I take? Yeah, and then like they asked, who's it? Who's the girl? The robot girl, alien girl.
Oh, Yuki.
Yeah, they asked Yuki. Well, why don't you say anything?
I'm only here to observe.
And here's what I want to bring out. Kyon should fucking have the goddamn brains. I don't give a shit if he's a 10 in 10. Cause that annoys the shit out of me. We're 10th graders. 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 Now, keep in mind, I just want to say this. This came out during when we were 10th graders, so I don't feel awkward watching these kids because they're the same age as us. But that shit annoys the fuck. It's like, Kyon, why don't you fucking say, hey, next time instead of observe? Because we just did.
I wondered that myself. I'm like, why don't you say, hey, can you like fill me in next time? I know it's gonna sound crazy, but like, hey, we need to start figuring something out.
Yeah, like every time, why did I want to talk to her?
I hated that because they added that scene and then not. Okay,
so, never progresses anywhere. It's
so most of my notes are just things I thought needed to be added at the end, like what was missing. Because one of them, like, they go really heavy on clouds and airplanes. Like, there's a whole lot of transitions with clouds. There's a whole bunch of airplanes. He draws an airplane. And if you've seen this, you know airplanes and clouds have nothing to do with the solution. And then the next episode, they focus in on a lot of bugs. And mostly like the wings and stuff. So again, like airborne, like flight.
Yeah.
And again, not what the solution is. And in my notes, like 2 of the episodes, literally, there will be no attempt to change the future.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's like, okay, we've been here for 15,000 loops. Okay, well, let's come up with a fucking plan to figure it out. Like, I can honestly see why people are getting pissed at the show. Like I said, I thought there was variations. I thought they're like, well, let's try this. But it's like, it's halfway through the episode, and then they go, you've done this, blah, blah, blah. And Kyon's always an asshole. He goes, okay, enough. Of course, Kenny shows up again.
My favorite thing, he's like, 15,498? What do you mean 15,498? We couldn't have done this 15,400. Like, he just keeps saying the number.
Yeah.
It's like, stop it. Stop it. I know you're incredulous at this, but stop it.
I did, I always wanted to talk this about, but, Kyon, when Kyon's talking to Haruhi, because Haruhi's like, yeah, I did my homework, beginning, because blah, blah, blah.
Because you gotta do it first so you can focus on the fun stuff.
Yeah, and Kyon says, okay, that's why I can't see, because it autocorrected from says to days. It's like Kyon days, the folks. I'm like, what the fuck? He says the folks upstairs weren't fair dealing out the stats. And I was like, that's kind of interesting how he says it. You know, I'm still trying to figure out who Kyon is, what his part.
He doesn't have a real name. Like, if you, like, I don't know if you watched the new intro.
No, I usually skip it.
So they actually, like, they have, like, a silhouette for each character and their name, and he does, it's just his nickname. It's just Kyon. There's nothing else there.
Oh, really?
There's no real name for him.
Yeah,
so much like his sister, who doesn't have a name, he also doesn't have a name.
You see the ending of these episodes?
What do you mean the ending?
Where like their pictures are like on a wall or on something.
Oh, I skipped that.
Oh, but
I saw a little bit of like the first time, and yeah, they're plastered on the walls.
Yeah, so that episode was the one episode where I called you for last times where I'm like, you got this episode? Because that was so they must have just because I believe somebody said that there's 3 episodes prior to the Endless 8. I thought they were because this is the 2nd season, and that one was like in the early, so I don't know, but no, yeah, the Kyon, like, I don't know what we're talking about, but Kyon needs to fucking be like, hey, yeah, Yuki, oh my god. See, for you guys, it's gonna be all one day. For us, it's been 3 weeks. We're in our own time loop in some way, but yeah,
our time is just started.
You should have just been like, Yuki, when I come up and ask you on Tuesday if there's any problems, fill me in.
Please let me know that there are problems. Nah.
Yeah, but yeah, they don't make any time. So the other thing too, I feel bad because you're actually taking notes. Like I'm gonna do this, and this. I'm looking at my phone. I'm just like, I got my head down. By the 5th episode, I'm just like, I think it's the same fucking episode.
No, like, I think episodes 6, 7, and 8, I was just like, well...
I could be doing something more productive.
I'll have it on. 8, I will definitely try to pay attention to, which was a mistake.
Because it's the same fucking shit for the last 2 minutes.
And I was looking at my phone, going, man, maybe if I put this on double speed. And one other thing I want to note is when they go to the Bond Festival, Yuki gets an Ultraman mask.
Yeah.
And that's my favorite exchange. Just Haruhi comes up, it's like, Yuki, what's up with the mask? I bought it. Oh.
Yeah, I know. There's like nothing. It's like, oh, okay, well, moving on.
That's my favorite exchange of the entire episode.
So, what I want to bring up to this, most episodes I don't feel bad for Haruhi. Like, I think Haruhi kind of brings her own, her own problems, and you're just kind of like, whatever. This episode, these 8 episodes, because they're so focused on her, but she had nothing to do with any of this. I don't believe that she caused the endless loop. Because they're like, oh, well, she must have been craving for a study group.
Well, she doesn't think of the study group because she's too smart.
Yeah, it's like... No.
The thing I hate the most about this is at the end of each episode, Hyun's like, she said something.
Yeah.
I'm like, no, she didn't. You said something. You are misleading me here, sir. Because she didn't bring up homework until you asked about it. So it stands to reason that the homework isn't the solution, it's the solution.
Yeah.
I was really upset about that. I'm like, oh, okay, I thought she wanted to skydive.
Yeah.
I thought it had something to do with flight.
What?
No, I'm the idiot.
Because he's always like, what is it? What's not enough for you? And it's like, dude, kind of calm down. Like ask her or something. Because every time she's like, I guess why I felt bad for Haruhi in this instance is it's always that scene at the very end where they're sitting at the table and they're all just kind of staring at her or not looking at her.
They're just staring at the table.
And she's like, "Is there anything else anybody wants to do?" And they all sit there quietly. And it's like, to me, that kind of gave off the vibe of like, we don't, it's like when you have a friend and you're all kind of pissed at that friend because you're just at this point you're just like, I can't take this person anymore. They keep saying the same shit.
I've spent fucking 2 weeks with you.
Yeah, and he's kind of give like the cold shoulder, and Haruhi just kind of gets like, oh, okay, well.
I left tomorrow open. I will see you on Monday.
Yeah, and it's like that's what the whole Endless 8 arc is really. I think there was a premise that I think that the creator had that he was going for, and then he just didn't. Either the translation didn't stick the landing, or he didn't understand he either watched, because if you watch Groundhog Day, they don't say it, but they say like, yeah, it's been 3,000 days or something like that he's been in this loop, but they really don't point that out. To us, it's only
it's just the next day.
It's just the next day, or it's the same day, but it's redone. So it's like, okay, there's like maybe 8 loops, and then they kind of go, okay, they go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, like all in a montage.
Yeah, and then they hit you with the real gut punch that, hey, he's been here for a while.
Yeah.
Unlike this, where it goes, you've been doing this for a while.
You've been doing this for 15,000 days. Oh my god, and it's 595 years. That's like, eventually.
I really like when he does that the first time, because he doesn't pull out his calculator. He's just like, 15,498 times 14 divided by 3. Like, he just does it in his head on his way home, and I'm just like, what? I'm like, no.
And
no.
Here's the other thing. Here's the other thing that frustrates me. So, we all strive, even if it's not something that you think about. Everybody's afraid of death. Okay, I'm gonna get a little deep here.
Oh no.
We're all of us are on the same track of heading to the grave. As soon as you come out of the womb, you're going straight to the grave. Now, you can either be one of these evil people, and you can get like, I'm talking about in movies, where like, oh, if we go here, we'll have immortality. Now, in different show or different types of content, I'm not saying it right, but in different movies, plots, and stuff, immortality means something different. It means you're going to live forever, but your body's going to deteriorate. So you're going to be living in hell. Or you're going to live longer than the Earth, and now you're going to be in space. You're by yourself. Or you're going to watch, and like if anybody's seen Free Run, where the elf is, 1,000 years old, and to her, human life is just a speck, because in 80 years, that's only like 3 days to her in reality. So like, you're in this perfect loop of where nothing's happening to Earth in Melancholy, where everybody's mind's reset, nobody's in pain. You have infinite. You've been there 595 days. Tell Yuki, be like, hey, let us know on this day, and then we can go do anything, because nobody's getting, nobody's getting hurt.
Let's go rob a bank.
Let's go. Yeah, and it's like all they do is like, well, what's Haruhi want? I get you can't tell Haruhi, because then she'd be like,
yeah, because like he does that in the last episode, and she gets really mad at him for that. She's like, how dare you try to be leader of the group?
Yeah,
I want to study too. And then she comes over to play video games.
Yeah, but it's like you had the perfect immortality of like your body's not aging, you're not causing harm to anybody.
But is it immortality if you don't remember it?
Well, yeah, right, correct. We all, in reality, we all right now could be living in a.
Let's go find the supercomputer who exists outside of time.
We all could be living in a time loop, and we just don't know it. But in these circumstances where you have somebody who remembers everything, Yuki, you can say, hey, Yuki, on this day, tell us, and we'll go do this, this, and this, instead of doing the same fucking thing over and going, oh, do you want Haruhi? Why aren't you fucking happy, Haruhi? Fucking Kion, do your goddamn fucking homework. She says it every fucking episode. And the only reason I know there was the homework is because I was spoiled on it. So I knew the first episode that it was the homework that...
Oh.
But...
I didn't put that together, because... Again, he says it's something that she says, and she only says it in response to something that he said.
Yeah.
So, like, it's not like... If she had come up and was like, hey, did everybody do their homework? Like, then I'd be like, okay, that's probably something that needs to be done. But it literally only comes up because he's like, hey, did you do your homework?
Yeah. So,
overall, I hated this arc.
Yeah,
Like, it wasn't, like, super bad or anything. It's just boring.
Yeah, like I said, I
didn't realize it was going to be literally, hey, let's repeat every line from the previous...
Well, it's like every episode, he goes... Like, one episode, there's cool moments. I really like the clock ticking. Like, the very end, where it's, kind of ticking.
And it's rotating the screen.
And it's like, okay, you're going to... Next episode, he's going to figure it out. And then we go next episode and nothing gets done. And it reverts right back to...
There's one of them, I think it's like the third or fourth Endless 8, where when she calls him that first day, he's like, yeah, I know about the bike.
Yeah.
And then that never gets brought up again.
Yeah, he's like, I kind of thought, I knew it. I always root for the underdog.
Although I do like at the beginning of each episode when his sister's like, your phone's ringing. He's got it right up in his face.
Yeah, I know. Every fucking episode. Your phone's ringing. Your phone's ringing. Your phone's ringing. Keon, your phone's ringing. You didn't answer your phone, Keon? Yeah, I'm talking right now.
Your phone's ringing.
Your phone's ringing. Oh my god. I don't really have much else to say.
No, because it was one episode 8 times.
Yeah, it was...
The fact that we talked about this for 21 minutes.
How about an episode of... but yeah, I can see people's frustration. I honestly...
If I watched this over the course of 2 months, I'd be really mad.
Yeah, I think that definitely... Because, like I said, there's definitely moments where it looks like he's going to figure it out, and then he doesn't figure it out. And there's so many options he could have been like, Yuki, tell me this, or... let's try this, or the whole episode. I mean, it would have been fine if they would just did something different each episode. But it's like midway through the episode, it's all exact same, just different variation of color of shirts.
They do change out the kids that Haruhi brings over in at least one episode.
Yeah, see, I wasn't paying attention.
See, most of the time it's 2 girls, but one episode is a girl and a boy.
Really? I had my head down. I was like, I'm just gonna listen to it, and it's like I'm hearing the exact same thing, and I'm just like. Yeah, so you got anything else?
No.
The only thing I'm going to bring up, it really has nothing to do. I didn't tell you this, but this week is the week that Akira Toriyama passed away. And just thank you for all your work that you've done. I know most of the time when we play this stuff, I'm just like, oh my god, it's the same fucking story. You made the same game.
Well, he's not the one making the game. He's not the one.
True, but
he's not Namco Bandai going, hey, we can sell Goku story again.
We could do the Frieza saga again.
People haven't gotten enough of that
one. But it's kind of cool just going through the Twitter and seeing all of the references in different animes, and that I'm gonna tear up. I don't know why. I don't know the guy. I've never met the guy. But it's just kind of... So I saw this picture a long time ago. But it's kind of weird because I think Naruto and One Piece are like not as old as Dragon Ball, but they're close. They're like
20 years younger.
Are they really just 20? Is it that long?
Like Dragon Ball was like mid-early 80s, the manga, and then like Naruto and One Piece at best were like late 90s.
Okay, because I saw Dragon Ball... Because I know... I've never seen Dragon Ball. I've seen Dragon Ball Z from the Frieza saga up until the Buu saga.
Because I think the Buu saga ended in like 95.
Yeah, because
at least the manga.
So the problem is that my brain still thinks that the 90s are like 10 years ago. It's like 20 some years. So, but there's a picture of Goku and he's got like Naruto, Luffy,
and the Bleach guy.
No, he's got and there's a bunch of this little like the Demon Slayer kids there.
Oh, was this that camp?
Yeah, I saw this years ago, and just like Goku's, or not Goku's, but Dragon Ball Z's.
The camp counselors and everybody else's wee tots.
And I thought that picture was cool back then when I saw it, and now I'm kind of tearing up because I think it's kind of cool to make something, and people can.
Look, Aaron, the cartels in Mexico have
I did see that. I kind of laughed.
They did a real ass ceasefire.
Wouldn't that be something like not to get political, but like all these wars that are happening? If we're like, you know what? Let's put our differences aside. Dragon Ball Z, Akira. Do you see the video of the Xenoverse with all the people raising their hands up doing the Goku thing?
I didn't see I saw the picture of it.
I thought it's kind of cool, but thank you for your work, and hopefully you find peace. So, and I saw our note at the end of this fucking ain't. So.
All right, well, we'll be back in a few seconds.
Yeah, I won't be tearing up next.
I'll bring the onions.
That's what it is. All right, now we're on to the favorite of everybody's.
The thing that everybody really loves.
I'm gonna say first thing. People have talked about this, and I was like, I wasn't like rolling my eyes, like, yeah, you guys are over exaggerating, but I was like, because people are like, oh yeah, they it's the same episode, but there's different variations.
Yeah.
Now they weren't really clear when they say variations. It was like, oh, they're just gonna wear a different shirt today.
I mean, they did do that.
Well, yeah, but I thought it was like, oh, let's try this, and then let's try this, like, but the episode always goes like, oh, we're going to the beach, or we're going to the pool, and then there's no diving, and then
it's all the same comments every single time.
They do the festival,
with the exception of the first episode where they don't do the time loop nonsense, and then the last episode where 2 minutes of the ending.
I was surprised.
Going through it, I was making like little like observations. Like, well, we'll get to it when we get to it. But I suppose we should explain the first episode, and then that will explain the next 7 episodes.
Well, okay. So yeah, so like then they like I said, they do the gold fishing. Make sure that we do the gold fishing because that's all Asahina wants to do.
To be fair, there are time loops when they don't do that.
Which I don't think none of the time loops that they did.
None of the 7 time loops that we got. They skipped the fishing.
And then what's his name? the guy, not Keon, but Kazumi. He always looks at the paper and then puts the paper down, which I don't.
That's him having his
moment.
His deja.
That's what I thought. That's what I figured it probably was.
Because he and Keon are the only two that have deja vu, but not to the extent that they can do anything about it. And then Yuki just is living in hell.
Yeah.
600 years of these 2 weeks.
Yeah, we'll get to that. And then after the festival, then they go bug catching, where it's whoever wins gets to be the club president for a day.
No thanks.
He's surprised Haruhi always wins. Then what happens after that? Oh, then they go to the market and they're salesmen. They're in.
They get part-time jobs and they dress up as frogs.
And then Haruhi's like, "Yeah, I have an eye in that frog suit. That's your payment." And then
they go bowling. There's karaoke. I took a note.
He says it's so weird. Karaoke.
That's how.
It's probably. Yeah, I'm not making fun. I just like how Keanu goes karaoke. He just says it.
Karaoke.
Karaoke. We did some karaoke.
I did take notes on the bowling. Asahina can't bowl. They quickly scroll over the scores, and like every other round, she's got gutters.
Nice.
Like she either gets one or she gets a gutter ball.
Yeah, I didn't pay attention to it. But
I just saw that really quick, and I'm like, well, okay, let me pull out my Google Translate, see who's the one who sucks.
And then usually after that, Keon gets waken up by Hasehina making the most. Every time I hear it, I've watched 7 episodes. I swear to God, every time I'm like, she got raped. And he's like, something bad happened. And then
I shouldn't laugh at that.
No. Well, it's just how she says it. And then
Koizumi chimes in. He's like, I'm here with her. And he's like, you bastard! You bastard! You raped her! Call me next time!
Yeah, oh my God. Dude, I lose 7 fucking episodes, and it's just like, it gets more and more like passive aggressive. It's like, that's my girlfriend.
You stay away from her.
Okay, you're mine. But then he shows up, and then they explain that there's a time loop.
This is only an episode. This is the second loop throughout the next 7 episodes.
Yeah.
They don't do this in the first episode.
Yeah, it just kind of ends with them doing like a bunch of
They go fishing. They go see movies. They do all the things you do during your summer vacation.
And then what's her name says? Anybody else want to do anything? Okay, nobody else wants to do anything? All right, homework time. And then Keon's like, oh, I don't want to do my homework.
I mean, I've only got a day to do 3 days worth of homework.
Yeah,
and then he wakes up the next morning, and hey, guess what? 15,498 loops later.
Yeah, that was... I didn't like that. It should have... It would make more sense if they started off with like, oh, this is like the 300th time that we looped.
Yeah, they started with low numbers and then kind of went to high. No, they just immediately hit you with 15,498.
It's 595 years.
They don't go... You don't get every loop, though. Like, I think they end with 15,524.
Yeah.
Something like that.
I was kind of noticing that, where it's like, oh, they skipped like 3 or something.
So, yeah,
But, like, after that, then...
before we start getting into the loops, you mentioned in the first part where Haruhi responds to his monologue. She does that again.
Yeah.
In the first of Endless 8, he comes out, he's like... He's not moving his mouth, so I'm assuming this is an inner monologue. And he's like, well, I always get stuck with the bill. And then she's like, because you're always late.
Yeah, I did notice that. I stopped because I'm like... I didn't know if it was off screen or...
No, because he definitely comes out when he's saying it. You can see his face. And
okay.
He's either not animated or he's thinking.
Well, that's the other thing. There are animations for like the kids. I wanted to take a picture of it, but I was like, I'm gonna feel awkward. But then, like the kids like have like fucking piercing hands, arms. Like they're gonna go stab somebody. Like.
Yeah, no. Once they get far enough away, like the art style kind of deteriorates.
Yeah. Let's see, what notes did I take? Yeah, and then like they ask, who's it? Who's the girl? The robot girl, alien girl.
Oh, Yuki.
Yeah, Yeah, they asked Yuki, well, why don't you say anything?
I'm only here to observe.
And here's what I want to bring out. Kyon should fucking have the goddamn brains. I don't give a shit if he's a 10 in 10. Because that annoys the shit out of me. We're 10th graders. 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 Now, keep in mind, I just want to say this. This came out during when we were 10th graders, so I don't feel awkward watching these kids. Because they're the same age as us. But, that shit annoys the fuck. It's like, Kyon, why don't you fucking say, hey, next time instead of observe? Because we just did.
I wondered that myself. I'm like, why don't you say, hey, can you like fill me in next time? I know it's gonna sound crazy, but like, hey, we need to start figuring something out.
Yeah, like every time, why did I want to talk to her?
I hated that because they added that scene and then not. Okay,
so, never progresses anywhere. It's
so most of my notes are just things I thought needed to be added at the end, like what was missing, because one of them, like, they go really heavy on clouds and airplanes. Like, there's a whole lot of transitions with clouds. There's a whole bunch of airplanes. He draws an airplane, and if you've seen this, you know airplanes and clouds have nothing to do with the solution. And then the next episode, they focus in on a lot of bugs, and mostly like the wings and stuff. So again, like airborne, like flight.
Yeah.
And again, not what the solution is. And in my notes, like 2 of the episodes, literally, there will be no attempt to change the future.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's like, okay, we've been here for 15,000 loops. Okay, well, let's come up with a fucking plan to figure it out. Like, I can honestly see why people are getting pissed at the show. Like I said, I thought there was variations. I thought they're like, well, let's try this. But it's like, it's halfway through the episode, and then they go, you've done this, blah, blah, blah. And Kyon's always an asshole. He goes, okay, enough. Of course, Kenny shows up again.
My favorite thing, he's like, 15,498? What do you mean 15,498? We couldn't have done this 15,400. Like, he just keeps saying the number.
Yeah.
It's like, stop it. Stop it. I know you're incredulous at this, but stop it.
I did, I always wanted to talk this about, but, Kyon, when Kyon's talking to Haruhi, because Haruhi's like, yeah, I did my homework, beginning, because blah, blah, blah.
Because you gotta do it first so you can focus on the fun stuff. Yeah,
and Kyon says, oh, okay, that's why I can't see, because it autocorrected from says to days. And so, like, Kyon days, the folks, I'm like, what the fuck? He says the folks upstairs weren't fair dealing out the stats. And I was like, that's kind of interesting how he says it. You know, I'm still trying to figure out who Kyon is, what his part.
He doesn't have a real name. Like, if you, like, I don't know if you watched the new intro.
No, I usually skip it.
So they actually, like, they have, like, a silhouette for each character and their name, and he does, it's just his nickname. It's just Kyon. There's nothing else there.
Oh, really?
There's no real name for him.
Yeah,
so much like his sister, who doesn't have a name, he also doesn't have a name.
You see the ending of these episodes?
What do you mean the ending?
Where like their pictures are like on a wall or on something.
Oh, I skipped that.
Oh, but
I saw a little bit of like the first time, and yeah, they're plastered on the walls.
Yeah, so that episode was the one episode where I called you for last times where I'm like, "Do you have this episode?" Because that was so they must have just because I believe somebody said that there's 3 episodes prior to the Endless 8. I thought they were because this is the 2nd season, and that one was like in the early, so I don't know, but no, yeah, the Kyon, like, I don't know what we're talking about, but Kyon needs to fucking be like, hey, Yuki, oh my god. See, for you guys, it's gonna be all one day. For us, it's been 3 weeks. We're in our own time loop in some way, but yeah,
our time is distorted.
You should have just been like, Yuki, when I come up and ask you on Tuesday if there's any problems, fill me in.
Please let me know that there are problems. Nah.
Yeah, but yeah, they don't make any time. So the other thing too, I feel bad because you're actually taking notes. Like, I'm gonna do this, and this. I'm looking at my phone. I'm just like, I got my head down. By the 5th episode, I'm just like, I think it's the same fucking episode.
No, like I think episodes 6, 7, and 8. I was just like, well,
I could be doing something more productive.
I'll have it on. 8, I will definitely try to pay attention to, which was a mistake.
Because it's the same fucking shit for the last 2 minutes.
And I was looking at my phone, going, man, maybe if I put this on double speed. And one other thing I want to note is when they go to the Bond Festival, Yuki gets an Ultraman mask.
Yeah.
And that's my favorite exchange. Just Haruhi comes up, it's like, Yuki, what's up with the mask? I bought it. Oh.
Yeah, I know. There's like nothing. It's like, oh, okay, well, moving on.
That's my favorite exchange of the entire episode.
So, what I want to bring up to this, most episodes I don't feel bad for Haruhi. Like, I think Haruhi kind of brings her own, her own problems, and you're just kind of like, whatever. This episode, these 8 episodes, because they're so focused on her, but she had nothing to do with any of this. I don't believe that she caused the endless loop. Because they're like, oh, well, she must have been craving for a study group.
Well, she doesn't think of the study group because she's too smart.
Yeah, it's like... No.
The thing I hate the most about this is at the end of each episode, Hyun's like, she said something.
Yeah.
I'm like, no, she didn't. You said something. You are misleading me here, sir. Because she didn't bring up homework until you asked about it. So it stands to reason that the homework isn't the solution, it's the solution.
Yeah.
I was really upset about that. I'm like, oh, okay, I thought she wanted to skydive.
Yeah.
I thought it had something to do with flight.
What?
No, I'm the idiot.
Because he's always like, what is it? What's not enough for you? And it's like, dude, kind of calm down. Like ask her or something. Because every time she's like, I guess why I felt bad for Haruhi in this instance is it's always that scene at the very end where they're sitting at the table and they're all just kind of staring at her or not looking at her.
They're just staring at the table.
And she's like, "Is there anything else anybody wants to do?" And they all sit there quietly. And it's like, to me, that kind of gave off the vibe of like, we don't, it's like when you have a friend and you're all kind of pissed at that friend because you're just at this point you're just like, I can't take this person anymore. They keep saying the same shit.
I've spent fucking 2 weeks with you.
Yeah, and he's kind of give like the cold shoulder, and Haruhi just kind of gets like, oh, okay, well.
I left tomorrow open. I will see you on Monday.
Yeah, and it's like that's what the whole Endless 8 arc is really. I think there was a premise that I think that the creator had that he was going for, and then he just didn't. Either the translation didn't stick the landing, or he didn't understand he either watched, because if you watch Groundhog Day, they don't say it, but they say like, yeah, it's been 3,000 days or something like that he's been in this loop, but they really don't point that out. To us, it's only
it's just the next day.
It's just the next day, or it's the same day, but it's redone. So it's like, okay, there's like maybe 8 loops, and then they kind of go, okay, they go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, like all in a montage.
Yeah, and then they hit you with the real gut punch that, hey, he's been here for a while.
Yeah.
Unlike this, where it goes, you've been doing this for a while.
You've been doing this for 15,000 days. Oh my god, and it's 595 years. That's like, eventually.
I really like when he does that the first time, because he doesn't pull out his calculator. He's just like, 15,498 times 14 divided by 3. Like, he just does it in his head on his way home, and I'm just like, what? I'm like, no.
And
no.
Here's the other thing. Here's the other thing that frustrates me. So, we all strive, even if it's not something that you think about. Everybody's afraid of death. Okay, I'm gonna get a little deep here.
Oh no.
We're all of us are on the same track of heading to the grave. As soon as you come out of the womb, you're going straight to the grave. Now, you can either be one of these evil people, and you can get like, I'm talking about in movies, where like, oh, if we go here, we'll have immortality. Now, in different show or different types of content, I'm not saying it right, but in different movies, plots, and stuff, immortality means something different. It means you're going to live forever, but your body's going to deteriorate. So you're going to be living in hell, or you're going to live longer than the Earth, and now you're going to be in space, you're by yourself, or you're going to watch, and like if anybody's seen Free Run, where the elf is, 1,000 years old, and to her, human life is just a speck, because in 80 years, that's only like 3 days to her in reality. So like, you're in this perfect loop of where nothing's happening to Earth in Melancholy, where everybody's mind's reset, nobody's in pain. You have infinite. You've been there 595 days. Tell Yuki, be like, hey, let us know on this day, and then we can go do anything, because nobody's getting, nobody's getting hurt.
Let's go rob a bank.
Let's go, yeah. And it's like all they do is like, well, what's Haruhi want? I get you can't tell Haruhi, because then she'd be like,
yeah, because like he does that in the last episode, and she gets really mad at him for that. She's like, how dare you try to be leader of the group?
Yeah,
I want to study too. And then she comes over to play video games.
Yeah, but it's like you had the perfect immortality of like your body's not aging, you're not causing harm to anybody.
But is it immortality if you don't remember it?
Well, yeah, right, correct. We all, in reality, we all right now could be living in a.
Let's go find the supercomputer who exists outside of time.
We all could be living in a time loop, and we just don't know it. But in these circumstances where you have somebody who remembers everything, Yuki, you can say, hey, Yuki, on this day, tell us, and we'll go do this, this, and this, instead of doing the same fucking thing over and going, oh, do you want Haruhi? Why aren't you fucking happy, Haruhi? Fucking Keon, do your goddamn fucking homework. She says it every fucking episode. And the only reason I know it was the homework is because I was spoiled on it. So I knew the first episode that it was the homework that...
Oh.
But...
I didn't put that together, because... Again, he says it's something that she says, and she only says it in response to something that he said.
Yeah.
So, like, it's not like... If she had come up and was like, hey, did everybody do their homework? Like, then I'd be like, okay, that's probably something that needs to be done. But it literally only comes up because he's like, hey, did you do your homework?
Yeah. So,
overall, I hated this arc.
Yeah,
Like, it wasn't, like, super bad or anything. It's just boring.
Yeah, like I said,
I didn't realize it was going to be literally, hey, let's repeat every line from the previous...
Well, it's like every episode, he goes... Like, one episode, there's cool moments. I really like the clock ticking. Like, the very end, where it's, kind of ticking.
And it's rotating the screen.
And it's like, okay, you're going to... Next episode, he's going to figure it out. And then we go next episode and nothing gets done. And it reverts right back to...
There's one of them, I think it's like the third or fourth Endless 8, where when she calls him that first day, he's like, yeah, I know about the bike.
Yeah.
And then that never gets brought up again.
Yeah, he's like, I kind of thought, I knew what I always root for the underdog.
Although I do like at the beginning of each episode when his sister's like, your phone's ringing. He's got it right up in his face.
Yeah, I know. Every fucking episode, your phone's ringing. Your phone's ringing. Your phone's ringing. Keon, your phone's ringing. You didn't answer your phone, Keon? Yeah, man, I'm talking right now.
Your phone's ringing.
Your phone's ringing. Oh my god. I don't really have much else to say.
No, because it was one episode 8 times.
Yeah, it was...
The fact that we talked about this for 21 minutes.
How about an episode of... but yeah, I can see people's frustration. I honestly...
If I watched this over the course of 2 months, I'd be really mad.
Yeah, I think that definitely... Because, like I said, there's definitely moments where it looks like he's going to figure it out, and then he doesn't figure it out. And there's so many options he could have been like, Yuki, tell me this, or... let's try this, or the whole episode. I mean, it would have been fine if they would just did something different each episode. But it's like midway through the episode, it's all exact same, just different variation of color of shirts.
They do change out the kids that Haruhi brings over in at least one episode.
Yep. See, I wasn't even paying attention.
See, most of the time it's 2 girls, but one episode is a girl and a boy.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
I had my head down. After I was just like, I'm just gonna listen to it, and it's like I'm hearing the exact same thing, and I'm just like, yeah. So you got anything else?
No.
The only thing I'm gonna bring up, it really has nothing to do. I didn't tell you this, but this. All right, the final episodes of the 2 seasons. So this was the movie arc, and then I think there's just 2 separate episodes by themselves.
Yeah.
So we're just gonna talk about the last 2 episodes first, and then we'll go into the movie arc. So nothing really happens, and so the nerd group comes over and says, "Hey, we want our computer back. That computer that's been there for
the computer that you guys have had for like 6 months.
Yeah, we want that back now."
And we were willing to bet 4 laptops. And you get to play our game. And if you lose, well then we get the computer back. and no more funny business.
Then Haruhi's like, "Well, that doesn't seem fair for what you guys are giving up. So we'll give you Yuki, or what I think it was Yuki."
I think she offered up Asahina first.
Okay, yeah, and
then Kion's like, "No, you can't do that." And she's like, "Okay, well, how about Yuki?" And it's like, "How about you offer yourself up?"
And I love it. I love that she's like, "All right, fine, you can have me." But
and so yeah, they play this awful like online strategy game where the computer club cheats. They just turn off the fog of war, so they can be like, well, we know where they are.
So on Haruhi's team, the fog of war is still on, but on their side, the fog of war is off, so that they can see, they can see everything. And somehow they get their ass beat as soon as Yuki,
Yeah, Yuki counter hacks them, and I think it's because they're not they weren't trying at that point. Because they were too confused on how they got counter hacked.
True. Yeah.
So they probably stopped playing the game so they could set it back up in cheat mode again.
Yeah, because I was watching it, I was like, how the fuck? It's only been 3 seconds since the fog of war went back up on your guys' side. And your guys like, I don't know where they're at.
Although then again, they might not have, sent out scouts, because...
True.
Why would they need to?
True.
There's nothing to scout. You can see them. So it might have just gone completely dark for them, and just everybody was conveniently out of their circles. But yeah, no, they lose, and then Yuki's like, well, maybe I'll go hang out there sometimes. Except I won't, because this is the second to last episode.
Who knows? Maybe the movie she'll hang out with them.
Oh, maybe. Probably not.
Probably not. Then we go to the last episode where it's now becoming fall, and they're like, we need a heater.
Yeah, Kion goes on a fetch quest to go two train stops over to the store that they filmed at, and we'll get to that in a second.
Yeah, so what I liked about this episode is Haruhi's like, all right, let's send Kion out so I can really fuck with Asahina and make her undress. This is probably my favorite episode of all of them, because I just love how slow Koizumi walks out. He's like, we're gonna get you changed, and Koizumi just slowly maybe I'll see something, even though he's not really, but he just picks up his tea and he just slowly walks out, and then you start to see Asahina get undressed, and then Yuki gets up and slowly walks to the bookshelf, and then slowly walks away once she's all done. I just thought that was kind of
that was pretty funny. And then they keep doing it.
Yeah, I think they did it 3 times. And
my favorite part is where Yuki's just sitting there and nothing's happening. The radio's on, and you think, well, it looks like the computer's been animated and whatnot, so you think something's gonna happen. It's just no, she's sitting there for 30 seconds.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, okay.
So I want to bring this up. So the green hair girl, I don't know what her name is, but she's friends with Asahina.
Mm-hmm.
So I was trying to figure out who the hell she was. What? Because I've seen her in other shows. I believe. Don't Toy With Me, Miss Nagatoro.
Nagatoro?
Yeah, I believe that they stole her from there because it's like I'm like, wait a minute, I think these two are like almost the same, like similar character arcs. So, but every time she pops up, she's like, ha 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 ha. No, but also, I think the Simpsons have a character where he's like, ha ha.
Yeah.
Every time she comes in, I just hear the ha ha, which is laugh. But yeah, she's like,
she was my favorite side character.
Was she?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I was gonna say they didn't really have too many side characters. But
I mean, they had Keon's friends and then her.
Yeah. So Keon's friends, not the bully looking guy, but the kid.
The one who looks like he's like a sixth grader.
Sounds like a sixth grader, and he looks like he's like some like other movies ripped him off too.
I think I saw him on High School Host Club.
Yeah, that, you know what? That actually might be where it was at, because I'm like trying to figure out, I'm like, I've seen this dude somewhere. But, yeah, nothing really much happens. You know, Keon comes back, and he's tired, and he goes to sleep, and then he wakes
He's covered in blazers.
Yeah, so somebody puts his blazer on, and Keon, I love Keon. I mean, I don't love Keon. I think Keon's probably a weak-ass character. But I love, he's like, oh my god, Asahino's in here? Is this her jacket? Was she naked? Did I miss it? I should have faked sleep.
I'm like, no, dumbass. No, shut up. Get out of here.
And then Haruhi, puts her jacket on top of Keon, and then they leave together, and it's raining.
And they steal an umbrella.
They steal an umbrella, but in Haruhi's defense, I wouldn't give her defense. She's like, well, it's for the students, and we're using it.
No, it's for the faculty. I'm pretty sure it was a faculty umbrella.
And the episode ends with Haruhi looking at Keon, and I was like, okay, cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was like, wow, that was...
I'm sure that's how it ended.
I can only imagine. I can only imagine, after watching 8 episodes of the same fucking thing, to get these 2 last episodes, and you're like, what the fuck? No, sorry. These weren't the last 2 episodes. There was the movie arc. Which
I was going to say, to be fair, there was the whole movie arc that sort of made up for it, because not really, though.
Before we move on, let's just make sure, check my notes, see if I have anything written down for either episode. I don't think I had anything written down for either episode.
I didn't take very good notes this time.
I did. Yeah.
Mine are like a sentence long.
Okay, so yeah, I have nothing for the last 2 episodes. So we'll go into the movie arc now.
Okay, yeah, so production of the movie begins.
And we're not going to go by episode, just we'll put it all together.
Yeah, there's 15 minutes of commercials. Probably no script. Because Keon's like, let me see the script, and Haruhi's like, I got it right here. She just points to her head.
Yeah.
It's just like, Keon's the guy who's editing it, so you have to let him in on it.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. I was like, Keon should have said, he should have been like, hey, if I'm your editor, you have to talk to me about the script. Otherwise, I don't know what I'm editing. Which, when the movie's finished, I don't know if he's narrating it, like, in the movie.
I think he is.
But oh my god, yeah, that's terrible. I don't know why I put this down, but Haruhi's talking about, like, oh, we're going to go to the Golden Globes, which is funny because when we were watching this, the Oscars just happened. So
I like how she kept changing the award.
Did she?
Yeah, at one point she's like, "You're gonna win the blue ribbon."
Okay, I guess that wasn't paid.
And that one's not about movies.
Oh, is that about porn?
No, that
well, the way you said it, the way you're like, that's not about movies.
No, that's like the state fair. Like you take your
you take your pig.
Yeah, you take your award-winning pig or cow or whatever in.
I'm not.
The blue ribbon is not prestigious.
Yeah,
I'm getting at.
But I like. So YouTube was around during this time. It was still in its kind of infancy. But I just put Haruhi, the modern day YouTuber with movies. Where what I mean by it is that she's like looking at somebody else's channel, going, "I can do that, and we can do it better." But this is where I start to hate Keon.
Only now?
No, I mean I've been hating him. But like, so I have a theory, and I had a theory worked out before I went to work, and I wrote down some of it, and then when I'm driving to work, I'm like, okay, how am I gonna put this together? But I'll get to that all. But like, Keon like silently trashes Haruhi, like the first like 3 episodes, he's like progressively getting more and more agitated at her. Like he's about ready, which it culminates. I think like I don't know which episode, but like he like raises his fist towards her.
It's 2 episodes from now. It's the 3rd episode of the movie arc.
To where like he's like actually gonna punch her. I'm like, holy shit.
I mean, to be fair, she's piling all this work on them, and she's not telling them
True.
anything.
No.
And then there's the whole supernatural aspect of like, well, Asahina now fires lasers?
Yeah, so that's
the 2nd episode.
I was also say, you know, how the Endless 8 where I felt bad for Haruhi because I felt like they were kind of pushing their shit onto her and like saying like, oh, well, it's your fault for why we're not.
Mm-hmm.
This one, Haruhi did not have any defense. I was like, I started to hate Haruhi even more. Like, I didn't really hate Haruhi because I kind of understand her to an extent. But like these episodes, I was like, holy shit. You were like not defending your case. Like you're out here starting to hit people in the heads with the microphone.
Hey, we're gonna throw you into the lake. What?
Yeah, right. I'm like Jesus. Like,
I think when that happened, I'm like, the movie is possible revenge.
What do you mean by that?
Like she might.
Oh, like she hates Asahina. So
it started to feel like she was like going after Asahina because Kyon likes her. And, like, Kyon is very, like, upfront about, yeah, no, I like her. So she's probably going, hey, fuck her.
Yeah, this is
Throw
like...
her in the lake.
Yeah, I did...
Kyon has eyes for me now.
I did think about that, too. I didn't think it was a revenge movie, but I'm like, okay, everything you're doing is... Because throughout the whole 2 seasons, every time Kyon's looking at Asahina... Haruhi kind of looks at him like, no.
Don't you be looking at her.
Yeah, and what I will say about the 2 seasons, is I love that they didn't like go divvy, or not divvy, I can't think of the word, but pivot to like, oh, he's gonna like Haruhi now. Because like, I was waiting for that. I was waiting for that change where like, oh, I don't really like Asahina. I like Haruhi now. But this whole season, or the whole 2 seasons was like, no. That's what I wanted to say before I forget. Oh, guns.
Yeah, those were guns, all right.
Yeah, that was so in 2024, guns hit differently now, and they're just holding guns up. I sent like a picture to the group. I might put that on the thing. Where he's just like, it just looks like he's just holding. I mean,
you see, as somebody who played Persona 5, the guns didn't like do anything to me because it was like I've already seen high schoolers. With guns.
True.
in a sort of realistic set. Well, I don't know if I'd call it Persona. In this same kind of setting. And so I just kind of went, yeah. I did like how they had to blur out the Sony logo on the camera.
Oh, I didn't pick up on that.
Yeah, I know, it was the Sony logo, but there was always like a streak of light over the O.
Oh, really? Okay.
So you couldn't... So you could see that it was Sony, but like if you ran it through like an image thing, it probably wouldn't come back as
Sony.
Yeah. Yeah. There's the big fight because Asahina gets drunk and they spike her drink with a little sake and what's her face? The supporting cast girl was the one who did it.
Yeah.
And she's like, I didn't think it was gonna be that bad.
Yeah, I was like, holy shit, they're really going.
And the fight is because Kyon doesn't want Koizumi to kiss her or something like that.
Yeah.
And then he's like, no, now you're just taking it too far. And it's like, no, this is acting. Except for maybe the spiking her drink. That one was not so great. Maybe don't do that.
Yeah, this is like what I was talking about, where Haruhi becomes more and more undefendable. Where it's just like
she's got from what I've heard, the George Lucas thing, where like if you let him do what he wants, he's just gonna keep going. Like he won't stop.
True. Like
there has to be somebody to reel him in, and I feel like Haruhi's kind of the same way. Like you need somebody to reel her in, otherwise what's going to happen is what happens in the movie, where things just start changing wildly, like the pigeons turn white. The cherry blossoms ignore the season. Asahina shooting lasers.
Yeah, so just off top of that, since you're talking about that, so I think it was episode 22, I put dumb teens don't see magic with the shooting the lasers. Like, how does nobody know? Like, I don't know.
I mean, like, you wouldn't see the laser, but you would. I like to believe that if I walked over and I saw that fence, how it had fallen and how it was like perfectly cut, I'd be like, huh.
Oh, okay, that's what I was referencing. It's the fence thing where Yuki's like bending the thing.
Oh, yeah, that too.
And then the fence falls down, and they're like, "Oh, that's interesting." It's like, how the fuck do you know?
This fence must have been pretty
Haruhi, you want to see natural shit, and natural shit's happening all around you, and you're like, huh.
But I was talking about when Asahina shoots her second laser.
Oh, yeah. She almost shoots.
And they look over, and there's just this chunk of fence cut out, like, perfectly. And they're all just like, oh, well, it must have just been really rusty or something. It's just like, what? No, that's a clean cut right there. What are you talking about?
On the thing of Haruhi changing things,
Mm-hmm.
Episode 24, Cat Talks.
Oh, that was great.
I love that scene. I love it. But, okay, here's what here's why either they fucked up on the editing or the continuity of the thing. But she's like, I'm looking for a black cat.
Yeah, you think he would have turned black.
He never turned black. Which I thought was interesting, because everything else happened that she wanted, except for that cat.
I'm sure it's fine. I'm sure if they had gone back to look for a cat, there would have been a black cat there. It's just, they picked this one.
Yeah.
I don't know, I love this cat, though, because he's just like, I might be saying words, or I might not be saying nothing, and you just are conveniently hearing words. But you're answering me. Yes, but I might just be making sounds.
I really did like that. I was like, that's pretty fucking funny.
He's like, okay, cat, when we go home, you're not allowed to talk. Okay, no, you say meow.
Meow.
And then, to get everything, so Koizumi and Kyon talk about making sure that after this movie's done, everything goes back to normal.
Okay, I was hoping we would get to this part, because I really want to talk about this part.
And I forgot. Wait, no. Koizumi's plan was, well, the ending has to be it was all a dream.
Yeah.
And for some reason, Kyon takes offense to that, and he's like, "No, we'll do it my way. I'll have her read the none of this is real. It didn't happen. All incidences related to are coincidences." Or
was this also when he's talking about the war between
the background stuff?
Like, that
all the factions.
Went absolutely nowhere, because I was excited. It's like, okay, cool, we're getting some plot, and it just
Koizumi's like, well, this doesn't concern you. There's a whole bunch of bloodshed and warfare going on. That doesn't concern you. Have fun in high school.
So at this point, Kazumi says something of like, we don't know what the ending is going to be. We don't even know if the ending's made up yet. And in that moment, I knew that was either a not illustrator, whoever made the book, author inserting himself, saying, I really don't know what, because I was like, there's gonna be no ending, and then surprise, the last 2 episodes there's like really nothing. Even though we do have a movie to go to, I doubt anything's really gonna be.
Oh yeah, it's gonna be. I can't believe they put Endless 8 into the movie.
You're right.
That's just all it is.
Yeah.
See other 15,500 timelines.
I do want to say, after the fight, after Keon makes up with Haruhi, it's not really a long fight, but when he walks in, Haruhi's putting her hair in a ponytail.
Yeah.
So I was like, because, at the very first episode, just reiterating for the people that he's like, I like girls with ponytails. And
I do like how the only reason why he goes to apologize is because one of his friends is an idiot.
Yeah.
It's like, you weren't doing anything, and that makes me mad.
Yeah, Keon really, like, these episodes, he's like, our class is doing a survey. Well, why nobody speak up? Why nobody went, I hate that we're doing surveys. Well, why didn't you speak up? We're doing a survey because you didn't say anything.
Yeah, and then he goes and he's just like, hey, we're going to finish this movie, and it's going to be awesome. And she's like, yeah, I know. I'm the one making it. Anyway, I guess the final episode we'll talk about is the movie.
Yeah, that movie was terrible.
Oh, the movie was great. I loved it.
No, I was like watching it.
If Keon wasn't narrating the whole time, it would have been perfect.
Yeah. And now we're going to rush for plot that I don't understand.
Wait, why is she now friends with the girl who threw her in the lake? Isn't that a continuity error?
It was kind of cool. I will say this. It was kind of cool to watch the episodes from the back and then to watch the movie seen from the front. Like the Asahina holding the gun. Like,
No, I really did like the movie because it actually looked like it was shot as a movie.
Yeah.
Like, it looked like somebody was actually holding a camera. And
Yeah. No, I did.
There was a few things that, like, I didn't really like, but I can't really... the biggest thing was definitely Keon narrating, because it didn't need to be there.
Yeah. And then, I want to know who finished editing. Do you think Haruhi edited it?
No, I'm pretty sure it was probably Yuki, but I did put in the notes, movie is completed by mysterious entity.
Yeah, they're just like fine with it. They're like, oh, cool.
Well, because it's done now. But like, it was probably Yuki. If not, it was probably a ghost. Because he does list out. He's like, well, Koizumi would be my next suspect, and then Asahina. No, she couldn't have done it. But I think the only one who could have would have been Yuki, and yeah, I did like the scene where she gets sent to space, and it's just a little cardboard cutout of her that like, swirls away.
I don't know.
That was at the very end of the movie. That's how she gets defeated.
Okay.
She goes, Koizumi's power is activated, and Yuki was sent to space. Woo!
Well, I like after the movie. I think it's after the movie. Like, Kyo's talking to Haruhi. He's like, "Yeah, Yuki's an alien."
Yeah. That scene threw me off because I felt like that was a follow up to like episode 12 or something. The one where when he tells Haruhi that he's got a thing for ponytails. Because at the end of that episode, after the credits, he's waiting for her to show up, and he's like, yeah, we're going to talk about aliens, espers, and time travelers.
You know, I didn't think about that, but I think you're right.
And then nothing happened, and then this scene comes up where he's just like... It felt like he was trying to sabotage his friends, like, hey, they are no longer an alien, time traveler, and esper, because she doesn't believe that they are. And then nothing changed.
Oh, interesting. I didn't take it like that. I took it as he's just like, all right, let's just figure this out. Let's just tell her. And then she's like, are you taking me for an idiot? And I was like, I put down, Haruhi is dumb.
No, I figured it was a sabotage thing. Like, hey, if she doesn't believe that they are these things, they are no longer these things.
True.
And life is now normal.
I actually like that. I like that take. That's actually better.
But I don't think... But if that's after... If that's specifically after the movie thing... Oh, wait, no, there's still one more episode.
Yeah, because we haven't got to the festival yet.
Yeah, I completely spaced out on that.
No, that's all right, because the movie technically is the end of that arc, I think.
Yeah.
And the festival, the battleship, and the last episode, I think, are the three just...
Yeah, anyway, now the festival's here. Keon just wants to take a nap.
You know what my first thing was? Keon tries to steal change. Yeah, because he's like, it's like, whatever, $10 or something.
When they're going in the maid cafe.
And he gives her like a $12, and he gets like, or they all give them the money to him, and then he's like, I was really hoping you wouldn't notice. I'm like, damn, Keon.
Well, they were like, yeah, no, we're going to split the change, right?
Damn, you caught me.
Yeah, so they go to the maid cafe, and they're allowed there for 5 minutes, I think, because of the hustle and bustle. And then Keon goes to the auditorium, or the gym, or wherever they're doing the music stuff, and they have a rock band come on, and they're great. I forgot what they do, but they're great. And then the other rock band comes in after Haruhi usurps the lead singer because she fell off a roof or something, and the lead guitarist broke her arm. So the Yuki and Haruhi are now this rock band, and
yeah, that really has to. I thought about this, and I was like, if you're a band, you really want to play, but if half your members are out, is it really your band anymore if you're playing? Even though it's your song,
yeah,
somebody else is playing it.
But like, yeah, considering it was both the lead guitar and vocalist. Now, I'm not saying that bass and the drums aren't important.
Oh, you're saying it, Jabe. You're coming out.
But they're less important than the lead guitar and vocalist.
Yeah, so side tangent. So, oh god, Hinder. So we went to see Hinder a couple years ago, and if you know who Hinder is, there's a guy who's like, the lips of an angel, you're in that voice. He's got a deep voice. Well, I don't follow bands, but another guy came out for the lead singer of Hinder. He's like, and the lips of an angel. And I'm just like, this is the same band. It's the same song, but it's not the same singer.
Yeah.
So, yeah, with your point with, if Haruhi's singing, do they like Haruhi's band, or will they come see your band?
Well, they were selling out on.
Could you imagine? You're like, oh yeah, this band's really good, and that singer, because she's a senior, he just comes out like singing, and she's just terrible.
But I mean, they were selling copies or selling out of copies of the. I don't know how they did that. I thought they were putting on flash drives and shit.
Yeah.
So I thought that was really weird though. Like, hey, if you want a copy of our song, come to the band room after this, and we'll make it happen. I'm like, okay, that's a weird way to put it, but okay.
And then the one character development of Haruhi is that she's flustered by the thank you, because she tries to get out of it. Like they come up and say, oh, thank you. All the band members like, thank you for doing that.
Yuki really throws her under the bus.
And she's like, oh no, go see Yuki. Well, we just came from Yuki.
She told us. Come talk to you.
Yeah. So I thought that was interesting. I was like, that's the one time where you could tell that she wasn't comfortable. But some people aren't. I like thank yous, but at the same time, I hate getting thank yous because it's like I just came over here to help you. You don't have to.
Well, I mean, to be fair, it's probably Haruhi's fault that the other two members
probably
were dying.
So I also have just some side stuff. I'm really believing that Yuki is the god, and she's just there.
And is it because she's mostly immune to Haruhi's bullshit?
Immune, and she fixes up Haruhi's bullshit, and she's the only one in the entire thing, excluding this one episode, instead of this one arc where Haruhi changes shit. She's always one that can like make everybody play good in baseball, or save Asahina from killing people, or remember that everybody's in a time loop. I'm like, okay, I think Yuki's the guy. And then because the way that they were setting it, I don't really know, but I'm wondering if Haruhi and I'm wondering if more Kazumi is the devil, because the way that they're setting up him, where he was kind of like, yeah, let Asahina do her thing, because he's always been like, let her do her thing. Let her do her thing.
Now that you're saying it, because he's always he does feel like the devil on your shoulder, going, "Hey, just let it happen. It's not your problem, but just let
you gotta let her
fall into temptation here."
And then because the whole story where he's talking to Asahina, he's like, yeah, Asahina, she's not telling you everything. And I'm like, at the point, I'm like, I never really got the vibe that there was. I thought that all the groups were working together. Like they all had the same objective.
I thought at the very least they weren't working against each other.
Yeah, and then that whole episode where Kazumi is like,
Koizumi.
No, see, this is why
I was gonna let you.
You should just gotta. Yeah, you just gotta. But yeah, he's like, yeah, we've been going to war with them, and it's like, what?
How do you guys still exist? You guys are the weakest of the members of the groups like following Haruhi. Of the three that we know of, I know he does mention there's more.
Yeah,
but like one of them's time travelers. They know every movie you're going to make before you do.
Right.
And the other one is immune to most bullshit.
So I was going, yeah, I don't know. So that's why I was like, okay, I wonder if, and then I tried figuring this out. So this is where my theory comes in, and I had it worked out, and then I lost it, and I can't figure it out. So I think Keon, because we're trying to figure out what Keon, I've been trying to figure out who Keon is, what his role, because it's kind of weird that he's just a normal guy who gets to, who at the I should have went back to, so I went back and captured footage for some of the stuff. So I got to hear some of the points again, but it's I should have went back to the first episode where he's like, I used to believe in this, and this, and now it doesn't happen. Now hopefully he says that, because that's the whole premise of this whole thing. But like,
I mean, I'm pretty sure he says, yeah, no. He's like, yeah, I know. If you ask me if I believe in Santa Claus, I'd tell you were a fool.
Yeah.
Now, time travelers, aliens, and espers, well, those could have been real, but I stopped believing those about 3 years ago.
Okay, good. Yeah,
I think that's of what he says.
That's what I've been thinking. But I'm like, I wonder if Keon, it's gonna sound stupid, because when I was looking at like emotions, like I wonder if Keon's power is emotions, because it seems like whoever he dislikes, especially with the movie arc, becomes the villain. So like Haruhi started becoming the villain because he was progressively getting more and more pissed off at her, and then he's always hated Koizumi. Why the fuck? Koizumi. He's for some fucking reason, he's always hated Koizumi. Like,
because Koizumi gets too close to Asahina.
But like he's not trying to flirt with anybody, I don't know, but like,
well, Koizumi's got that natural cool aura around him.
True.
That I'm sure if we saw him more, there would be just. I'm sure of all the characters, he has the fan club at school. I'm sure there's a fan club of Koizumi following him around. You just don't get to see it.
But it's always interesting that Haruhi wants to see his stuff, but Keon sees everything. He almost dies like 3 times to Asahina, his love. I don't know. So like I said, I had this theory. I had it all worked out, and I was like, I better write some of this down. And I wrote it down, and I'm like, I don't remember it, how I got to point A to point B. But that's kind of like my theory, is that he's not God. Which I don't think. After this, I don't think Haruhi's God either. I think Haruhi just can create things. Whatever she wants, she can create. And I think Kazumi kind of was like, well, she can destroy stuff, so let me have her destroy, so we can start a new world where maybe Asahina is also on the line of like, well, we don't want a new world, we want to keep this world. And then, Yuki's like, I'm actually the god, and you are all my playthings. I don't know.
I'm just here to study. I'm just here to observe.
595 years. And but do you got anything else on?
Not particularly. I'm just kind of glad that the bulk of this is over at this point.
Yeah. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna watch the movie. So for you guys, this is gonna be probably 10 seconds, because I don't know how to transition. For us, we're gonna watch the movie, and then we're gonna finish this up tonight. So.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I'll say at the end of the next after that.
Oh, okay. All right. That was a long movie.
That was a long movie.
It just kept going.
Yeah, if it was, they could have shortened some of the stuff at the beginning, like the time travel part back to, or not time travel, but him waking up in a parallel universe. They could have shortened that down a little bit.
Mm-hmm. No, that's not what this franchise is about. We got to see everything. Remember how they did 8 episodes of the same episode?
Yeah. Yeah, I'm wondering, not behind the scenes, but I wonder if those 8 episodes really tanked the franchise. And they're like, all right, make a fucking movie. And what's it, because that's I listen to podcasters, and they talk about anime, and they say they like movies because it takes like the 12 episodes and just combines them all into one.
Mm-hmm.
That's what it felt like.
Your movies did feel like 12 episodes. This is really long. I think it's like, what, 2.5 hours? Is that what I read?
You know, it's interesting. We'll get into it. We'll eventually get into explaining. But the first half kind of was like dragged on, but then once they like started going into the
163 minutes.
So that's like what, 60 minutes?
That's 2 hours 40 minutes.
The first half was like boring, uninteresting, and then the second half happened, and it's like, okay, this is interesting. I like this.
And then like chop.
Yeah, and it's like
get it moving.
But yeah, so you know.
So it opens like a week before Christmas, and the SOS Brigade is.
By the way, not to interrupt, but the festival just happened.
No, that was a month ago.
I know. They always gotta say. They always gotta go like the festival or whatever the last big event thing was. They go, whatever that was. It's pretty weak. Okay, so sorry.
So the SOS Brigade is setting up a Christmas party because, you know, that's what you do. And I think the third day of them setting up this party, Keon wakes up and everything seems a little different.
There's a pandemic happening. It's 2020. We later find out it's COVID. No. But it's literally, you know, it's funny because this movie came out in 2009. And it's just like almost identical to the pandemic of 2020. Sorry, not to get, you know, freak people out. But that's literally what I thought when I was like, oh, cool. Haruhi's the
Patient Zero.
Patient Zero. Yeah, there we go.
So Keon is in what seems to be a different world because nobody recognizes him. Nobody remembers Haruhi. And the SOS Brigade doesn't exist. And he goes around assaulting women.
Yeah, it's really funny. He just runs up to like Asahina. He's like, "Do you remember me? Oh, well, I know you have a star shape on your tits.
You gotta show me.
Let me see your tits." No, he doesn't say it like that. But.
And she runs away, and he gets punched in the face.
The weakest punch. He's just like, huh.
and then he goes to the SOS Club, and it's not the SOS Club because, you know, alternate world. It's still the literature club. And he's like, "Nagato, you remember me, right?" And she's like, "Yes." And then he's like, "Yeah, I remember how we did these things." And she's like, "No, I just know you go to school here." And he's like, "Oh." And he's got her pushed up against the wall.
Yeah. And she loves it.
And he eventually finds a bookmark that's like, "Hey, find the keys. You got 2 days." And I'm like, yeah, what if those 2 days were from like a week ago? What if you've got no days left?
Yeah, 'cause he says that too. He's like, "Well, is it starting right now?" Because it's already been 2 days since he's been in this parallel time world.
And so what he does is he comes to school one day, and his friend who was sick was like, "Oh, so here you're going a little crazy."
Yeah. Oh, before you move on, sorry, I was just thinking about this. I think because the person, I'm not going to spoil it just yet, but I think the person that knows, I don't think there was a 2-day limit. I think she just the person knew that you're going to find the clue in 2 days. So I don't think there was an actual time limit.
Yeah, maybe.
That's what I'm thinking. Because, well, we'll go split.
So his friend's like, "Oh yeah, no, I know who Haruhi is. She goes to this prep school." And he's like, "That all-girls school?" And he's like, "No, it's been co-ed for years." So he goes and he stakes out the school. And he just fucking stands there for a few hours until Haruhi and Koizumi come out. And he's like, I know what happened on Tatabana 3 years ago. You drew those lines." And she's like, "Yeah, everybody knows that. But you weren't the only one there.
It was John Smith!"
And she's like, "What's your name?" He's like, "John Smith." And then she's like, "Oh, okay. Yeah, I believe you. Let's go to that cafe over there."
After she beats the shit out of him. And then the security guy runs away. Best line in the entire movie. the security guard has him. And then, John Smith, Keon, gets up. And then the security guard runs away. We need a teacher!
So what's the teacher going to do that you can't do?
Teachers get the right to beat the shit out of security guards. They just have to stand there.
So, Haruhi believes this story because it sounds way more interesting than what she's doing right now. And so we round up the gang yet again.
Well, before, Hyun's like, wait, you believe me? Your other self never believes me. And Haruhi says the second best line. My other self seems like a dumb person or something like that. I was like, yes.
And so they round up the gang yet again, and the gang is the key. Like all five of them have to be in the room to have the computer program activate, which allows Keon to go back in time to
3 years.
Yeah, the Tatabana event, where now he gets to watch himself do the things, and then then he gets to team up with adult Asahina because they need to go talk to Yuki after she put them to bed. And he's like, "Can I open this door?" She's like, "No, no, you can't. Do not do that. No. You can't let the time slip out." So it's great. Just he keeps running into himself in the past. And anyway, she explains that somebody has stolen Haruhi's powers on the 18th, the day that he got transferred to the alternate dimension, alternate world timeline. And she's like, "Here's a needle. Go inject them." And he's like, "Can I get something different?" And I'm like, turn it into a handgun. And she's like, "Okay." Yeah. It morphs it into a handgun.
That was pretty funny. That was pretty funny until you were saying it.
And I'm like, good. So, they go forward in time.
Yeah, so, Yuki can't
she can't join them because that would be a conflict of interest.
So then, Asahina has to put them in forward time, and they land...
They land on the 18th outside of school, and they see the culprit come up the hill, and lo and behold, it's Yuki.
John Smith!
And so Keon's going to shoot her because he's having this mental debate, like, is the original world better than the new one? And if it's not, why did you hit the button to come back here? And so he pulls out the gun, and then he gets stabbed.
Yeah, that's one of the best moments. Or not that he gets stabbed, but it's like one of those just came out of nowhere.
Yeah, and it turns out Stabby McStabberston
It's Canadian girl's back.
Yeah, she got reconstructed to do the stabbing. Also, she's back in the new timeline, alternate world, as like a red herring kind of thing.
Yeah, she sits in Haruhi's spot.
Yeah, and she's like, "Hey, don't you ever hurt Yuki, otherwise I would do a murder." And she attempted to do a murder. And then Keon wakes up 3 days later in the hospital after a second Asahina and a shadowy figure who looks a lot like him.
Looks a lot and sounds like him.
And I'm like, yeah, this hurt for me too. Bye. And so 3 days later, we wake up to Koizumi trimming apples. Just like, that's just what he does, I guess. And Haruhi's there too. She's in a sleeping bag, like, underneath his bed. And then
the rest of the crew besides Yuki comes in.
Yeah.
I guess Asahina's the only one that was left.
Yeah. And then...
it was explained that he fell... Did you say this? It was that he fell down the stairs?
Oh, no. That was the cover story that he fell down the stairs. I don't know how it happened. What probably happened is after he got stabbed, Asahina and the guy who mysteriously looks like him, they went back in time to push him down the stairs so he doesn't get stabbed.
Oh, see, You sitting here saying you don't. Oh God, I checked out. But like you're sitting here like coming with all these fucking points. I love this. When you hate something, you sit there and go, well, I'm gonna fucking figure out the fucking plot. I do not think.
I'm just guessing.
No, that. I'm pretty sure 100%. I bet you that's correct.
Because Haruhi does make the comment like, oh, I saw somebody in a skirt. And
yeah.
Like, yeah.
See, in my head, it was just a Canadian girl. Like for some reason in my head, the Canadian girl came back and pushed him down the stairs if he fell down the stairs.
Oh no! I to be honest, I didn't even make that. I just made the connection now.
See, look at that.
Because they say, "Hey, we're gonna fix everything."
W's in the chat.
They're like, "Hey, we're gonna fix everything," and so anyway, he goes onto the roof where Yuki finds him, and she's like, "Well, the big computer is probably gonna terminate me, so." And Keon's like, look, they do that to you. I'm gonna tell Haruhi about everything. I'm gonna make her look for you. And let me tell you, that computer's not gonna like what happens.
So I assume since there is nothing after that I know of, I don't think there's anything after besides the spin-off. I assume that Keon was shot in the head, and after he fixed everything, he came back to his real world and then got sniped because the computer's like, no, we're not having this.
That seems like a whole lot of liability right there.
So now you just broke my illusion of. So I thought Keon was the CEO of the Espers and because when he came back he said, yeah, I heard a lot, but it makes more sense that they went back in time again.
I mean, why else would there be a second Asahina?
Yeah.
If not for the time travel.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And then the movie closes out on Keon going back to the club and being like, I don't have to go back yet. You'll wait for me, world, before I fix you.
Yeah, because right? he looks right at the camera. Breaking the fourth wall.
Yeah, and then I think the movie ends after that. There's a credit sequence, and I think something happens after the credits, and I completely forgot.
Well, the kid. So
oh yes, it's the library.
Yeah, looking at. I think this is. I almost bet you, this is where Yuki's brain snapped, where she finally turned to love.
Oh, we didn't even explain that. The whole reason why Yuki fucking reset the world is because.
So Yuki's in love with Keon.
Yeah, and she's also she wants to make a world where he will be happy, and she thinks that he'll be happy if he doesn't have to put up with all this bullshit that Haruhi puts him through. Which is why she's like, well, I'm going to recreate the world to be normal, so you can be happy. And we might coincidentally run into each other. I don't know.
Oh, wait, why you got a gun? I don't want to be happy. No, so the two kids, they're talking. It's a boy and a girl. And the boy turns around, and his shirt, which I've never seen a kid have this. I assume it exists, but he has a giant logo on the back that says "Continue."
No, it says "Enter" or "Return."
Oh, enter, return. Yeah, return.
It's the keyboard key.
Yeah, return.
It's a big old arrow, and then more credits roll, and then thankfully the movie was over.
Yeah. So before we went to the next part, we're gonna skip the spin-off,
the disappearance of Yuki-chan.
Yeah, we're gonna skip that.
I'm kind of burned out on these idiots.
Even though he's playing two and two together like crazy, he's like, yeah, this. Yeah, so when I went into this, so basically, like I said earlier in the podcast, this was like one of the first animes that I watched, and so I was like, I thought I remember it being more interesting than it was. That's what happens when you mix 20,000 different animes together, and you're like, wait, I think this one is this. And
there certainly was a lot of melancholy.
Yeah, but it was one of those where it's like there was parts where I was like getting interested, like the build up from the first 6 episodes or whatever, the Melancholy of Haruhi, or that was interesting, and then it was like kind of this like boring episodes after that because you're like, okay, we gotta kind of calm.
We gotta get this slice of life in here.
And then the hateful hate. I always want to call it the hateful.
I always want to call it Super 8.
Super hate. See, I think any of them works. But that popped up, and I was like, okay, that can't be as bad as what people talked about. And it's like, yeah, it was just as bad as what people talked about. And in my head, I'm like, okay, it's gonna be the same episode, but they're gonna do something different to get out of the time loop. Not Keon being stupid and being like, I don't know how to do this. And then you have, the movie, which was fine, but I started to hate all the characters because I'm like, you're making a movie, but you're not telling people what movie you're making, and then now you're getting mad, and now you're drugging your friends and pushing them in the water, and then Keon almost fucking punched. Like, fuck. That was like so weird. Like of all the animes I've watched, I've never seen a character go from being like nice guy to like I'm gonna punch you in the fucking face, And then the ending, the movie where it's like, oh yeah, it's all about time travel, blah blah blah, and it's like there's interesting points in there, but like it was just too far between. And,
yeah, I mean, it really feels like they could have trimmed some of the fat down. Like, I don't know, you probably could have got this under 2 hours.
Oh yeah,
there was probably enough that.
Well, you could just go back to the parallel world, and then find out sooner. Because I'm like, okay, how's this, And then it gets interesting. Like towards the mid part to the end part, it's like, okay, now we're time traveling, and like, are we building to something? And then it's just like,
no.
So, out of all of it, I don't think Oh, the other thing I wanted to say, I wanted to go into this, and I was trying to I wanted to be that different voice. Not trying to be a different voice, but I wanted to try to see that differently, because every review or anything that I listened to about this series, everybody's like, yeah, Haruhi's God, blah, 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 this. And it's like, okay, well, is that what it is? Or is there something different? So that's what I was trying to find some difference. Like, I'm trying to figure out, like, crack the code. And I don't know. There probably is no. I don't think Haruhi's God.
Mm-hmm.
I think Yuki probably falls into the God position more.
I mean, Yuki seems to be able to actively manipulate her surroundings as opposed to subconsciously doing it like Haruhi.
Because who's to say that Yuki's the one that changed the pigeons? Who caused... I'm not trying to... You did it better than me. I was thinking about this when you were talking... but I was like, maybe... This is probably now I'm thinking of. Maybe Yuki was the one causing like Asahina to actually try to kill, not intentionally try to kill Keon, but like, hey, look, Keon, I saved your life. Subconsciously she's doing it, so maybe that she'll notice him,
or he'll notice her.
Yeah, but like Keon never noticed. Like, I mean, Keon notices, but like there was never any love interest.
There was just that one time he wanted to buy the Ultraman mask for her.
Yeah.
And she was like, no. And
who knows, maybe in that 595 years, she's like, wow, Keon's a gentleman. He's going to buy me that, So, like, I don't know. And I think, I'm glad that you agreed with me. Because I was like, the whole Kazumi...
Koizumi.
Guys,
you're getting closer. You're getting closer now that we're almost done.
Like, listening to him, I'm like, maybe he's not... I don't think he's a bad guy, but, I think he's kind of like, well, let's just cause a little chaos. Let's just be a little bit more...
Let's just be devil's advocate here.
And then Asahina is the one who's like, oh, I'm trying to fix my mistakes, by going back in time. So, I don't know. Is it easy just to say... But what do you find interesting? And I did think about this. So I always skip the intros, but when I was going back to record footage for the intro of the first intro for Melancholy, like, I don't think there's a hand that comes out, but Haruhi looks up, and it is like a white flash. It's people like say, oh, when you see God, you see a white flash. Mm. But she like puts her hand up or something like that. I was like, oh,
I have no idea what you're talking about.
Yeah. Well, it's because I went back and did record footage, so I was just paying attention. But, I don't know. The show wasn't as interesting as I remember. But
like, it feels like there were moments, but like there was some pacing issues. Like there was a lot of padding to this. It feels like, and I'm not just saying that because there were 8 episodes. They were basically the same episode.
He could have really got away. He or she, I don't know who made it.
I think the author's a guy and the animator's a girl, or the artist was a lady.
Okay.
For the manga.
Okay.
Because I did look into that a little bit, and it's some dude, and the lady I think makes hentai games.
Oh really?
I think she's made a few.
Well, I was listening to a podcast, and they said Jujutsu Kaisen was created by a female. Mm-hmm. It's like, oh, that's interesting, because a
lot of the manga people who make manga, they are ladies.
Oh, nice.
It's a more even split than you would think.
Yeah, because I know, like in America, or not America, but in like video games, it's usually like the head guy's director. Mm-hmm. So it's always kind of interesting to see when some like a female, But I don't know what we're talking about.
I don't know. We lost the plot.
Just like she or he. So who's the creator?
The author is a guy.
Okay.
I don't know his name, and the artist is a lady.
Lady, okay.
So I think this started off as a light novel, and then became a manga, and then it became.
I think you're right.
It became this.
Yeah, I was gonna. When I went, I don't know if I told you this. I think I did tell you this, but when we went book shopping, they had volumes of Melancholy. Mm-hmm. I was like, oh, maybe I should buy these, but I'm like, at the time, I think we just got done with the Hateful Eight.
And you're like, maybe not.
I'm like, I don't know. I really don't know if I want to go further into this, but I hope you guys enjoyed this. This is
yeah. If you're still here at like the fucking 2.5 hour mark,
it's gonna be longer. So if you got to this part, so what I'm gonna do is let out a little secret. I'm gonna put the Hateful Eight. I'm gonna put that in twice. but I will put it in the description if you made it this far. If you actually watched it, I appreciate it. But I'm gonna put it in the description. If you want to skip it again. But there's a can in the episode. So of course I'm getting annoyed at this episode, the Hateful Eight, and when Koizumi, mm-hmm. Did I say it right?
Yeah.
Holy shit.
His name's Itsuki.
Oh god. When he's talking to Kion about kissing or
coming up behind her.
Saying
I love you.
There's a can that has a smiley face, and it's the smuggest ass. I'm gonna put that as a second term where it's just like zooming in slowly if I can do that. But yeah. I hope you guys enjoyed this. I don't think we're gonna. I don't know if we're gonna do this again. I did like the watching it separately, mm-hmm. and then coming together to talk about it.
I certainly like piecemealing it.
Because
it's so much easier to just be like, oh yeah, we're going to talk about these 6 episodes instead of going, oh yeah, by the way, here's 20 episodes. We gotta go through this one.
Yeah, the only thing that I wanted to do, and I always like is be like a little bit more just like kind of what we did for the last episode, was just like, let's just talk about it, or mm-hmm. instead of going episode by episode. But yeah, I definitely like this, and Phil, if you made it to this point, which I know you haven't, I talk about anime too in a different way. No, it's all good. It's all good. So I hope you guys enjoyed. Leave comments and give Jacob W's. Just say JW. just go JW. It's in the thing because I didn't pick up on that. So
okay.
All right.
Well, I'll see you guys later.
Our mission is to go find ourselves a